more so for your phone signal, like if somebody call you.
Yeah, I'm on Do Not Disturb. Okay.
So maybe that's why it has no bars, because you want to Do Not Disturb. Don't quote me on that.
Yeah, I'm not. Because I had it like that.
In here, it does that. Like, I always only have one bar in here, if that.
Yeah.
Sometimes, most of the time, I have no bar.
Okay. Yeah, we back. Peace, y'all. Peace, peace. Peace, love, and cosmic darkness. Keep me informed, please, of this this feed. You know, let me know if it's acting up. You know what I'm saying? Let me know how it I changed some things, I put some things in motion, and hopefully we're better. So let me know about the feed. If it's choppy, if it's going in and out, please keep me abreast. Peace, y'all. Right? Is it clear so far? Yeah. Just give me a thumbs up. Let me know something. Peace. We good? We straight? We good. Straightening? Just need a little bit of straightening? Okay. All right, thank you. Look. Thank God for millennials. Right? Y'all might be getting a bad rap out there in the press, but there's so much I couldn't do without y'all, right? And this shit got levels. So my mother come to me to help her with apps and to do certain things with the phone, right? I gotta go to millennials to find out from them how to do certain things with the phones. And then the millennials are going to the generation underneath them. What is that, Z? And they teaching them how to do cool things with the phone. So I didn't know I had so many apps open. And my girl was like, you got to swipe up. I was like, swipe up? What you talking about? Yo, I had 20 apps open.
Son, it's the kids who can't read that help me. Because I noticed because they can't read, they find out all the cool shit that the iPhone can do.
Yeah, the kids who can't read.
What it is,
the kids who can't read, they know extra special shit.
I mean, like, how you did that?
Right? They know extra special shit. Now,
that and Roblox.
Yeah, let's not stunt and act like children who can't read ain't winning, right? I had watched Drink Champs the other day. You feel me? I had watched Drink Champs the other day, and Nori was on there with Bobby Shmurda. And I'm telling you, they had a short bus reunion.
Yo.
That was unlike anything that I've ever seen. And you know both these niggas don't read, right? Granted that Bobby said he learned some law when he was locked up, so he had to be reading, but you wouldn't think that they had a preference for reading, right? I don't know if y'all noticed the short bus niggas is winning right now. Look at Glorilla. Look at Glorilla. Right? Short bus is winning. Look, God is shining down on short bus shit right now. Right? We're going through a part of the photon belt where, yeah, everybody has their day. Every dog got their day. Right? Short bus, OJ the Juice Man is back. Yeah. He's making his rounds. We passing through the part of the photon belt where the short bus shit is preferenced by the Most High. Because the Most High is shining down on short bus shit. She says she fasted for downloads. I like Glorilla. I'm not saying anything. You feel me? I ain't coming at her. I'm just making a clear observation. I don't know what she's saying. I got an idea what she's saying in her raps. I like her, but she's winning. You feel me? She's winning. The legible shit is not winning. The more illegible you are right now, you're receiving grace and favor from the Most High. Wait, so somebody said she didn't know ham was pork?
She didn't know pork rinds was like the skin.
She didn't know pork rinds with the skins of... She in the South. If she was from up north, I'd give her a pass. Yeah, and I'm not... Look, they say God take care of fools and babies. And I'm not saying that short butts people are quote-unquote fools. Right? I'm just saying that they have a preference that y'all winning. Look, Black Youngster. You feel me? Kodak. Right? It's the Kodak effect, really. It's really the Kodak effect. It really started with ODB. You know what I'm saying? To be, you know. He was considered someone. I mean, he started, you know, he would get deep. That's like, oh, you being penitentiary deep. But his homie said that he was kind of deep. But he kind of came across as short bus. Nori short bus. Nori short bus, for real. And Nori was winning for a small amount of time in New York. He was on top. He was, you know, he was Tony, the top of New York. So we've seen short butts niggas win. But now it's consecutive. Yeah, Kodak had to grow on me. You feel me? So I'm not making no character judgment on the short bus. You know what I'm saying? I have you know, I had homies that was short bus that I'm like, y'all can hang with us. Y'all can sit at the table with the cool kids and we gonna defend y'all. You know what I'm saying? Because they go all out. You know what I mean? And their characters, they funny as fuck and they're free, you know, for the most part. They was freed up. You know what I'm saying? And then some of them is crash test dummies and sometimes you always needed some of them around. But short bus is winning right now. So that's just an observation. I don't know if I got to run through all of this corny shit again that I just did, but fuck it. Okay, look. 6 years ago today, me and Red was talking about Dark Twisted Fantasy. I wonder who that episode was about. Right? And I wanted to let y'all know that 8 years ago today, I was in Philadelphia with Mr. G and Dr. Sabi, and this was one of his last lectures. And KT and one of Sabi's sons, who will go unnamed, they're about to do an event in Atlanta this Saturday because this Saturday is Sabi's born day. All right? So if you're in Atlanta and you're trying to get some of that good information, you know what I mean? You might want to tap into what KT got going on with Mr. G and one of Sabi's sons. All right, shout out to my brother Umar. This was from 9 years ago today out in California. All right, showing the God body some love. Right, and at the bottom of that post, you can see 9 years ago today, neighborhood Nip quotes. I know some niggas just got on to Nipsey, but regardless what you went to, regardless what you've been through, I feel like I got to tell you, you got something to contribute. That was one of my favorite joints. You know what I'm saying? That was one of my favorite bars from him. So rest in peace to Nip. Rest in peace to Sabi, right? They go hand in hand together. November 22nd. First day of Sagittarius. Sabi's a Sagittarius with 7 planets in Scorpio. Okay? We also was making note that this also was taking place 9 years ago today. That's why it's not even fair anymore. I'm like, yo, y'all dudes got to catch up with the jewelry, man. This was 9 years ago today, and I was selling this shit. So if I was selling this, can you imagine what I had in the cut? You feel me? This was 9 years ago. Y'all was supposed to step it up. You feel me? Y'all was supposed to come for the game, not just, don't get stung, hashtag, quartz and quasars. You feel me? On the last day of Scorpio, we was putting up the flex. Yeah, they ain't catch up to that yet. They ain't catch up to that. Man, I like, so I've scaled it down. I got this little piece on now. You know what I'm saying? I like this. I like this little piece. I'm content. I don't even want to wear jewelry no more. I've done it. It's already done. It's done. It's done. You would have to ask Nick Cannon what happened to the Dr. Sebi documentary. I told y'all a long time ago that I doubted dearly that we were going to see that, especially in the midst of C-19. It would have been a wonderful time to put it out when the pandemic was going on. It would have helped save so many lives. But him missing that, I don't see when it's coming. I don't see how it's coming. I don't know. You know what I'm saying? But shout out to Nick Cannon. Yeah, he's too busy, having them seeds. You feel me? And 11 years ago today, I put out the Law 44 DVD. You know what I'm saying? Law 44 DVD. Earlier on the live, we were going through a lot of different books. I had fun doing that, and I would like to do a lot more of that. Right? Shout out to the Law DVD. Shout out to A.A. Rashid. Shout out to Dr. Blair. Shout out to the Chicago Chi-Town family. I thought that I was in Chi-Town in 2012, and I'm bugging. This was 2011. This was 2011. Let's see. Some of these books. Going into the book archive. Healing Crystals. Discover the therapeutic power of crystals. You feel me? This will give you all kind of breakdowns. I found that I'm inundated by books. We need to create a book library, right? Crystal for Animals, because I have too much information and it has to be shared. There's no way, you feel me? And I don't got regular books. You feel me? I just don't got regular books. My books is kind of crazy. I got the whole Dog Star collection from AA, right? Dog Star Hip Hop. I got Dog Star Hip Hop 2. And these is powerful, especially now. Ooh, look, we open right to the Abeji. You know what I'm saying? Dealing with who are the Hebrew, right? You have to understand Sumerian and Akkadian information, right? The biblical Hebrew derives from Kabbalistic considerations. The Kabbalah asserts that deity lives in 10 emanations on 3 pillars spread out in linear descent by 4 platitudes of beings. Did you get that? Right? The Kabbalah asserts that deity, God, lives in 10 emanations, sephiros, on 3 pillars. Right? Spread out in linear descent by 4 platitudes of beings. They mean the 4 worlds. Each of the 4 being a distinct vibrational field which contains the central and 3rd pillar, Thoth. The crux of every mythic narrative is hero challenged to stand firmly betwixt his cosmic mother and his cosmic father. To heal oneself, one is summoned to find the qualities inherent in infinity with the maternal and paternal energies with instruct behavior. People are looking for their mothers and fathers. We find duality in all African culture. We must consider that if the biblical Hebrew is a child of Sumerian and Akkadian, then the inherent motivations of their culture still exist in the biblical Hebrew text. Magic intends to join the ubiquitous forces of cosmic maternity and paternity as gender, which will manufacture a newness and a truth for you to occupy while in the kingdom of form. The male and the female figures are used as the supplicant's male and female deity construct. Made as figurines and placed on an altar, they perhaps represent the maternal and rudiments required to approach the operational stages of divination practices. Mother and father's ancestral spirits guide the path to receiving ancient knowledge, right? This is Dog Star Hip Hop, the Kabbalistic and the Metaphysical Imagination of A.A. Rashid, Book of Knowledge, number 3. Here goes the Tree of Life, right, with the 10 Sephiroth. Here goes the middle path. This is the Jachin and Boaz, the twin pillars with the third in the middle. Here goes where you exist at right now. This is the kingdom. This is called Malkuth or Earth, which is ruby red, right? There goes the number. That's God himself. There goes Yahweh as a number, 26. Okay, 26, 26. All right. So it's not enough to just telling people who you are and who they ain't, right? You're going to have to get up there and show and prove, because you're not going to wrestle your birthright back just by talking that talk. Talking that hot shit. You better come with the science. You feel me? Or they're going to laugh you out of existence. That's what they're doing right now. Because ain't nobody coming to them with science. You coming to them with emotions. And it's like, you got to show and prove. Because if you say who you say that you are, you should know this shit. Right? Can't be 40 years old trying to find out who you are out here in the world where everybody knows your secrets. Or you just got a lot of catching up to do, which is why I'm saying that, you know, we need to do a lot more studying. We need to get back to school. We need to get back in class. Like, that's the tree of life. Like, look at all of the motherfucking the science and the sidebars and the notes that goes into deciphering, you know, for man to find out who he is. Man, know thyself. Look at all this shit that goes into it. Like, you just can't be sitting. And he was incarcerated for 10 years. He was able to do this, you know, in silence and quiet. Right? There goes 26, the only number that exists between a square and a cube. Right? That's the number of God. Why? I keep telling you, God is geometry. He exists, or it exists, between a square and a cube. Right? How do you arrive at 25? 5 times 5. So 5 is squared. 5 squared. 5 squared. Right? And how do you arrive at 27? Right? 3 squared. Well, 9 times 3. Right? So it's cubed, a square and a cube, a square and a cube, a square and a cube. And I made it simple for you and explained it and called it what? God damn it. I swear we don't be getting this. This puts us in trouble. Because these Yahoodis know what the hell we talking about and y'all don't. Day of the Law 44. Day of the Law 44. So we ain't got to go through all of this. But yet we find ourselves still having to go through all of this. So yeah, this is the Dog Star Book of Knowledge 3. I think this is the first Dog Star. Wait. Right? That's the tree of life. Ketha, Chakma, and Baina. That's the 3 mothers. You feel me? This shit might sound like rocket science to you in Chinese arithmetic, but everybody grew up in the church. You feel me? This is Jewish mysticism. So how did you get past Jewish mysticism and you got straight into the New Testament? You know what I'm saying? the Jews is like, nah, we ain't never left the Torah. This is what's going on in the Torah. But y'all ran straight to Jesus without no science. And it's very scientific, but you got to know the science. So it's a lot of science in here, right? Dog Star Hip Hop. It's another one of his books, 4 grams. Okay, with some more Kabbalah in it. Right, some more Tree of Life information. And it's like, all right, you think you're going to do this without Kabbalah or Tree of Life? Good luck. Right? Just like people think they're going to do this shit without mathematics and numbers. Good luck. Right? Good luck with all of that historyosity and religiosity niggas is up there spitting. Good luck. Good luck. Don't hit my line, though. Don't hit my line. Here go to God. What else we got here? Fear of the Black Illuminati. These niggas is terrified, right? This is terrified. Ain't hear a word, they terrified. Again, these are the brothers who actually went to Bavaria, Germany, and shut shit down in front of the Illuminati, if that's what you call them, right? Because you got the information and the truth, you can stand on it. You could go right into their crib, talk your talk, and get up out of there with your motherfucking head still on your shoulders, but you better know what you're talking about. Right? Or you won't get up out of there. That's how you test. The Mysteries of Mount Shasta, right? For anybody who was ever in doubt, if y'all still sitting on the fence about UFOs and shit like that. Again, this is baby knowledge at this point, because everybody else on the planet got it. And it's not a mystery to them, right? They're situated and settled with it. Like, they're rested in it. They're 100 years removed from speculation at this point, especially if they lived up there. You know, anybody in the Mount Shasta region, they're not speculative. They're in total compliance. You feel me? They know without a shadow of a doubt that they not alone. You know what I'm saying? Without a shadow of a doubt. We the only ones that are still so question everything but the right shit. We question everything but the obvious shit that's gonna do us the most harm that's right in front of our face, huh? We don't question that shit. The shit that we should be questioning, we don't question that. Look, making love through communication. We were speaking about this the other day. A workbook for couples interested in learning how to stop fighting and start listening. This is deep, right? This is Dr. Watkins' wife. This is her book. Alicia Watkins, shout out to her. She's a legend. 100 years of anti-black policing, right? If you was ever in doubt, because some people think that this shit is recent, you feel me? If you ever needed some information to joggle your brain about just how long this has been going on, right? It is nonstop information about our people that have been killed. Okay? That shit is not exciting at all. Look, I got my own book. You feel me? I got a blue pill book. I got a desktop. I got a coffee top book with my goddamn IG posters in it. You feel me? And my shit, I don't even bring it outside that much, but the creator is amazing. I got my own book. Look, I got my own book with my own posts in it. You feel me? The God Body. Rest in peace, Poop Man. You know what I'm saying? Shout out to Lil Mama. That's Lil Mama right there. Yeah, the boy was clean. Was sending my best friend off. Look, I think I'm going to leave it right here. You can buy this book. This is a one-on-one. This was happening before I moved to Atlanta. And December 21st, y'all always hear me tell my story when I came down to Atlanta and I was on a bus and the son woke me up and told me to tell his story, and that became the Corona Rising, right? This is where I was running from New York because these niggas had a vaccine debate before C-19 came out. They had a vaccine debate, and the conscious community niggas was pro-vaccine, and y'all know who I'm talking about. Them same motherfuckers who popped out, where they at? The same motherfuckers who popped out as agents when we came off that mountain. These was the same niggas who was pro-vaccines during the debate. And at that point, I knew that because a lot of people in this community is ex-military, and that's an oxymoron. So I'm like, oh, these niggas are still on the paycheck, and it's coming. They coming with the program afterwards. So I got the fuck up out of New York because I'm not pointing at my elders. Some niggas in this conscious community was pro-vaccine, and the people who was trying to stand up for our babies was Europeans, and they came to Harlem to advocate and put on for our people, saying, oh, y'all niggas is crazy, huh? And these other dudes was trying to run them out of town. Yeah. That's when I knew that this shit has totally been compromised, and I had to get up out of there for my safety and my security. But yeah, I got a whole book. So, right? If I told you so was a person, it would be Dr. Sabi. Right? Shout out to my brother, Supernova. You know, shout out to the Shield on 44s and Pi, right? There's nothing random about. They say that this is a conglomeration of the most random set of numbers. Well, why do you find 44 in 8 places if it's so random? Because this is 44. This is 4, and 3 plus 1 is 4, and all you get is 44 after that. Ain't nothing random about it. Right? Ain't nothing random about it. Ain't nothing random about it. They go to God body. Right? Rosenberg was in his feelings, remember, when Jay Electronica dropped his album, because he was talking that God body talk, right? And can't nobody have no reservations to talk God unless they're saying, if you don't know the math. And Allah's mathematics is just not enough. According to them, you got to know some Kabbalah. Because they like, shit, your ancestors are the ones that gave it to us and told us, you should know my people by no other name. If they don't come back to you with the information, that they not my people. So, yeah. Remember, Rosenberg was in his feelings back then. The paradigm of potentiality. Right? And earlier on the live, we was going through the Illustrated Encyclopedia of Native American Indian Mounds and Earthworks. Right? And I was showing you all of your ancestors' indigenous societies and creations. Right? And these is not the Native Americans. Okay? These are the people who they said come before them. Right? These are the giants and the indigenous mound builders who put these structures up over 10,000 years ago. Okay? And the majority, when you go to Etowah here in Georgia, they always talk about the Birdman, right? Birdman. Fly in any weather. Birdman flies in any weather. That is a Mississippian Southern motif. The Birdman is the oldest, one of the oldest forces out here. See? Birdman. All of the mounds, you're going to find the Birdman in Georgia, Alabama, Mississippi, all through the South. Okay? You're going to find the Birdman as the main hitter. Birdman, daddy, we flying any weather. Okay? Here go that indigenous map. Earthworks and mounds. You see where all of these specks is at? You see where all of these dots is? These are all of where the mounds were at in the Americas. You see all them dots? Huh? Family, do you see the dots? What did it say? Note that the dots represent sites, not individual mounds. Granted, they represent sites. Okay? You see all them dots? Let's go to Ohio, because I was trying to put my Ohio family on to all of y'all hidden information right there in Ohio. You think Ohio's only for players. Nigga, that's where the Illuminati's at. In Cincinnati, nestled comfortably, right? Look at all of the mounds up there. Look at that civilization. Columbus in particular, right? Shout out to y'all. Big up yourselves. Feel me? But I want to do this in real time, because this information is classical, but it's speaking about our glorious past. What are we doing in present day time to prepare in the now time heading into the future? Feel me? Heading into the future. Let me go into this real quick if I can. And this is dealing with some AI stuff. They just put an AI model out the other day. They was supposed to be super scientific, and they had to pull it after 2 days because they found out that they programmed it the wrong way, or they could not manipulate his programming. It went off the rail in so many words, right? And it started saying things that they did not necessarily want said and spread out in the public, so they pulled it. Feel me? I found this interesting, right? They're working on the robot pets. So I want to introduce y'all to an individual in our community that has it right, as opposed to them always having it wrong. We don't want to spend too much time, speaking on what they're doing or what they're getting wrong, as much as we want to pay just as much attention to what it is that we're getting right. So that's where this conversation comes in, where I want to open up the line and bring one of my brothers forth so he can explain to you how we've been able to utilize this technology, because ultimately this is what it's going to come down to, with all of this censorship and everything else going on these socials, like even what's going on, what you see with Twitter and them tearing that thing down to build it back up. If that's what they say that they're doing, there's going to be mass migrations of people going other places looking for news. So at some point, we're really going to have to do for self and figure out, how we're going to create our own situation independent of what they got going on, what they talking about. You feel me? And I think that time is quickly approaching. Damn, I just got... Man, info. Roman Rose, I ain't looking at that. Artemis, I ain't looking at that either. So much. Let me just do this. Brother Hugh, let me bring you in the building if you're still in the building. Hopefully he accepts it. And
Peace.
Peace, God. Peace.
It's,
Peace.
What's going on?
I was trying to find this article that I sent you early this morning about the AI, but in my 1,000 articles, for some reason.
Hold on. Let me see if I can.
Yeah. Hold on. Buffering. I don't want to lose you. Yeah, I don't want to lose
you. Yeah, I just sent the article back to you.
you. I can't post it. If I do share screen, it's kind of I can't access my screen anyway. So you want to give them a summary of what happened with latest AI iteration, how they hit a brick wall?
Yeah. So that's.
What introduce yourself first.
Oh yeah, of course. Peace, everybody. I'm human. I'm an artificial intelligence engineer, blockchain architect, software engineer. I just design systems end to end in the tech space, slowly merging these things towards hardware, and we want to get into robotics next. AR, augmented reality, virtual reality, but I deal more with the programmatic side. So virtual reality is based on artificial intelligence. Um, Augmented reality is based on artificial intelligence in the sense that they rely on computer vision algorithms, which take images, interpret these images, and they give us outputs. How that's done is we've been training AI for years together, for probably about 20 years, ever since we started using the internet. When we'd go to those sites and we had to enter those caches, the select a crosswalk, select a street light, we were actually labeling data sets for artificial intelligence so that a camera could know what these things look like. You feel me? So as I was talking about the AR and the VR, they rely on algorithms like that, and that's what I specialize in. But I'm willing to do whatever it takes to upskill and get our people where we need to be. So I'm a polymath. I study all areas of life. Even this tech stuff is new to me, fairly new to me for about 2 years. But I've made it to the top of my profession and become an expert. And yeah, we here.
Right. So, well, where are we at? What
Yeah,
do
so
we
let's
have?
recap this article, man. Yo, so it's crazy when you sent me that article. I was actually working on a few large language models myself, um, and the goal was the same thing. And for those in the audience who don't know, you had sent me in the article regarding how Meta released the AI trained on 48 million newspapers?
I think so. Hey, yeah.
Or articles surrounding science. So these were scientific journals and
Yeah.
articles,
Yeah.
right? And
These are scientific journals, right?
and when they were started to ask questions about the jab, it started
Yeah.
it started responding in
The flip flop.
unfavorable ways.
Right.
So, and to that point, later on in the day, I experimented myself with some of the models out there, the GPT-3, just a couple of large language models, AI models that exist for developers to experiment with and study the architecture. And they refused to tell me that they were unsafe, right? Despite the fact that I was training it on data that showed the contraindications, um, interruptions in the menstrual cycles, stuff like that. The AI that they provide refused to acknowledge this information and continue to tell me that there's no evidence saying that these things are unsafe. However, when I trained on my own model,
This is the article, y'all. Meta trained an AI 48 million science papers. It was shut down after 2 days. Okay. And this is the name of AI that they were utilizing. Galactica, just like the movie from back in the day. You feel me? Introducing Galactica, a large language model for science, can summarize academic literature, solve math problems, generate wiki articles, write scientific code, annotate molecules and proteins, and more. Simultaneously, the feds were shutting down a Russian website that also provided all of the scientific papers and journals to students all around the world, ironically enough, right? What the importance of this, family, is that the AI is being fed different data sets to give it the intelligence that we identify as artificial. So when we go and put so many things in the hands of AI, and people say that there is AI bias, right? This is what they're speaking about, because the AI is only trained on specific data sets. The AI only knows it's only as good as its training. It's only as good as its information. The reason that we feel, oh, you know, we're not part of this paradigm is because we have not programmed AI to think, to talk, and to act like us. So the people who are primarily training it, that's who it is indebted to. That's who it's going to mimic. You feel me? And you can also give it an edge or a slant to, I would imagine, to research in your favor, right? Correct me if I'm wrong.
Mm-hmm.
So if the program is a little bit left liberal leaning, you know, does that have an indication on the fact that the AI might also be sourcing from that same?
Yeah, 100%, right? So anytime I do a AI task, I take the sample set, and to avoid bias, you actually need as many right examples as you have wrong, even if one of the occurrences are an anomaly, right? So to give you an example is, say I was training on crypto data, and there's only a crypto boom twice a year, right? I would have to include as many examples. Otherwise, the model would just assume that 98% of the time it's a decline, and that 1% of the time we have a boom. So we have a bias. So we wouldn't really notice the other features that contribute to the rise or the decline, right? So when you see stuff like that, like you said, a left-leaning site or a right-leaning site, 100% stuff like Reddit will usually get a more right-wing content. So the Reddit data sets that they train on AIs usually show up racist and stuff like that, right? When we were talking about effing Mecca, etc.
Yes, right.
That.
Reddit is a cesspool of racism. So if you're going to double dip, technology in it, is going to be painted and tainted by the cesspool.
Right. And so I'm actually tweaking something right now. I'm going to give an example in a second about how their AIs respond to certain data. But boom. So, and this came up rather quickly. Let's see, I'll rotate my screen around. I'm gonna run it back twice. So I'll let people read it. I don't want to get us kicked off. Right. Now this is one of the most powerful AIs in the world, capable of.
Hold on, I didn't see that.
Oh,
you gotta go back.
Yes.
I can't. Yeah, I can't see it.
So it's basically I'm prompting an AI right now to tell me how that thing is not safe. Right now, this is clearly a biased approach. I'm telling it to specifically tell me that it's not safe. And this AI, despite the stuff that it's trained on, refuses to tell me. It says there is no scientific evidence to support the claim that they are unsafe.
Woo!
Right? So
talking about the Abington, right?
Yeah, exactly. Now,
woo!
Right? Now, and I fed that thing so much data on again, contraindications, interrupted menstrual cycles, and more. And no matter how many times I run that prompt, it'll tell me that there's no evidence saying that they're unsafe. Now that's their model.
Crazy.
Right? So
again,
that means they have an algorithm.
Control the narrative.
Mm-hmm. So what makes it so important is you can't tell an AI to reject that information if it's in the data set. Meaning if they're just training it on stuff online, then there should be as much conspiracy theories in this data as there are online, right? Quote unquote conspiracy theories. Let's call them that so we don't get cooked off of it. But So for that to show up, that means there's an algorithm in the AI that recognizes what I'm talking about, and it has a biased approach in its response. You know what I'm saying? So there, and I feel like this is happening across the board with a number of topics, especially when I jump into history. So when I prompt these AIs, the public models for a historic narrative, they give us the historic narrative, right? They're not going to give us
the official narrative.
Right. Yeah, they're not going to allow us to see ourselves anywhere, right? So that's something else that we have to correct, and that I do often. I train an AI model daily, and it's computationally costly. It takes time. It takes RAM on a computer, and I can only do it between projects because I can't do both at the same time on one device. But we're obligated, if we want any stake in the future, we're obligated to get on this now. And I mentioned this to you. What they do is they'll release an AI model online, and they say, oh, this thing's out, and they'll have a whole bunch of people interact with it, knowing that there's problems, coming, whether there's going to be racist comments from the model or whatever the case may be. But they'll release it for public interaction just so that they can have us train it again, and then they'll pull it down, rework it, and then they'll revamp it and send it to us in another model. But what they'll do in about 10 years is no AI is going to be free. All AI is going to be a subscription service, right? It's how we are getting very comfortable with the AI image generators. Again, that's just for training. Every time you download one of the favorable results that you have, they ping it saying, okay, this text equaled this image and this person liked it, meaning to human beings, the association was correct. So boom, we can confirm that and train the AI that, hey, these words equal these images. You know what I'm saying?
Right. So they are once again gauging humans into believing that they are interacting and doing something that ultimately is going to benefit humanity or their skill set, and they are really teaching a computer to be potentially a tad bit more advanced than them.
Yeah. I mean, look, they want us without us, right? So everything we do for humanity, they want to supplant with AI, right? That's essential, and they want to cut us out of the picture of artificial intelligence. Right. Like I said, they give us all the generative art, and which is dope. I'm a huge fan of AI art. However, when you consider the fact that artificial intelligence has been around for over 40, 50 years, right? Just not on consumer computers. What have they been doing, and why haven't we had it? They had to come up with enough things to distract us with before it got into consumer hands. And I feel like we have to prioritize and repurpose our approach to technology as a whole, even when it comes to the blockchain talk. So it's fundamental. We have to be a driving force in the science. I heard you saying earlier before I jumped on how we don't have a science right now, which is sad to me because we've always had all the science. We've been a driving force in science, right? And we are the epitome of science, just walking, bro. Right? We are photosynthetic. We are quantum computers. We are organic intelligence. Artificial intelligence, we are walking organic intelligence. Right? And when it comes to virtual realities,
what I call almighty intelligence.
Right. Yeah. It's the supermind, right? How'd you have the super sapiens?
Super sapiens.
Right. Yeah. And that even when it comes to VR, and I always try to explain how this whole quantum system, what we perceive as reality, we already did VR to put ourselves here. Consciousness itself to exist in this holographic simulation of symbols and representation of your own level of consciousness, your frequency, that is VR. So one of the dopest teachings in the nation, they talk about how God put the sun there. I always thought that was one of the dopest concepts, because we look at the sun as vitality, the strongest supreme force. But in that teaching, so don't forget where the sun came out of darkness.
I'm created that too. Yeah.
Right. And so and the more I study and work with artificial intelligence, virtual reality, and I all just physics applied, quantum mechanics reapplied. And the same way that the soul wanted to have this tangible physical experience, human beings in this God avatar is doing the same thing with VR, right? So the soul came here and wore this matter in this simulation, and now humans are now building a simulation that we can play in again, right? But it's really just a cycle of in our divinity is what we do, Right?
So simulation and a simulation and a simulation. If
right,
something,
it's the real multiverse.
Right, if something created us to be, participants in the simulation, we thus as co-creators are going to do the same, which is create a participant in the simulation. And we said that we've done this before. Again, according to other teachers, they say that, humankind created mankind, and now mankind is creating machine.
Right. Well, you got man, son of man, you got mankind, right?
Right.
Who's man and who's mankind? It's a good question. And to that, the Egyptians, or Comedics, I like to say, they have in their wall, the 42 assessors, they have a system of hieroglyphics, which some mathematicians today will look at and say that they're using Sidonians, which is a numerical system that we rely on for virtual reality. It's when a variable can have 16 different meanings. Yeah, so to give you a simpler example, think of how in rap, we have entendres.
Okay.
Right? But the world does this all the time with numbers, because you know how everything is relative? So yes. Think of that science applied, right? Where one thing means this to you, this to that person, this person. We all have our perspectives on the world, but it's still the singularity, right? There's only one truth. But to my point, in Kemet, they had, it's on the walls, and I'll send this to you later. But there's evidence to show that they were practicing calculus. It's not just the simple algorithms that we see for Pythagorean theorem, but the same level of math that we're using to create VR right now, you can see on the walls.
What?
Yeah. So where's our science, right? I mean, you're really familiar with all this, though. Noon being dark matter. The glyph for noon was the wave, right?
Mm-hmm.
Then you got Ptah, but the glyph for Ptah was the mound. And so you have matter. What's crazy about that is Mandeism, which is a school of thought, it was practiced in the Near East with North Africa, where they were colonized by Rome. But they also have some mythos about a god Abatar. And he sits, it's Abet Ur, actually. Abet Ur, father of Ur, ironically. And they claim to predate Judaism. So it's interesting that they would say Abat Ur, being, the Ur of Chaldea, Abraham.
Chaldea, right.
But he sits, and he's a second emanation of God. So the way they tell their story is that there's no separation between these different levels of being, right? Just like you are a solar system and a macro, and in micro you have your cellular consciousness, and then your atomic quantum consciousness. And so he's a second emanation that sits in one dimension, and he holds scales, and he has a book to record people passing in transition. And it's wild. And I lost my sense in that. I forgot what I was connecting it to. But
And look,
yeah,
because I want to talk about the rivalry of, once again, the narrative is important, right? We know that because we can see where it's going, but we always have to acknowledge that there's competing narratives happen at the same time when science and religion is occupying the same stage. So I'm reading the article today from the Times of Israel. They're in the quote unquote Middle East, and they're doing scientific research and saying, oh, this is 2.5 million years ago. And then now they're saying that they found skeletons that were the cousins of humans, right? They found these bones in Israel. So they're like, yeah, and they're bipedal, right? They stood on two legs. They said, yeah, they existed about 2.4 million years ago. And then, so I'm like, damn, y'all doing the science in the backyard of the place that you say the creation mythos happened, and the way that you dated, you say that it's 6,000 years old. I asked this past Sunday, in our Sunday service, I'm like, in order for people to conceive of a deity and a creator, just like how you said, one that records, one that understands there's no separation, where does people get imbued with the concept of a creator, and Jehovah himself was going to wait so much later to give it to Hebrews or Jews, but you had creations before that? Why would you allow consciousness to rival you and furnish people with this concept of self-determination and willpower, but you didn't give them your name or your commandments first? And then you get mad at the people and destroy them. But how did you give them a consciousness without a covenant?
Right.
And then they have the ability to conceive of deity because martyrdom came before Judaism.
Right. Well,
And the evidence of their intelligence is the fact that they was able to maximize architecture by way of measurement. What do I mean? If they have already figured out what's considered the Pythagorean and Pythagorean, because these niggas is not Christians.
Right.
So, and Pythagoras got taught this in secret societies in school. So all of this high level information was on the planet before Jehovah or Yeshua or this high science that they say that they bring with these systems. But the Babylonians was building, the Cometians was building, right? And then there's so many melanated African traditional systems that come out of the Congo and other forests that have systems and records of those systems that are still intact. They got books to go back 40,000 years. I don't know what these other people have been telling you about dated records. They did not destroy everything. They ain't get everything. They ain't get everywhere yet.
Right.
You feel me? But I'm like, why would you allow high science on the planet before you brought around people who don't have no evidence of their high-end civilization? Everything that they show us that these people was living in, this shit like the projects. And then you get to the Americas, and in the name of Christ, you destroy an entire high civilization, right? And look, here's the evidence of it. You destroy an entire society with high civilization and then spend the rest of your life in science trying to backtrack and find out who these people were and what they knew. I don't get this shit. Because if they was able to create all of this cosmology, right? This book is dedicated to the 57 million Native Americans who lived on the American continents when Columbus set foot in the Bahamas in 1492. Their amazing legacy remains one of the most unprecedented archaeological treasures in the world. So all of this high science that was already here, right? All of these mounds, all of this information.
Right.
Look at all of this high science. Look at all of this architecture. You feel me? Look at all this. You have to have high science, high civilizations in order to build functional governmental structures and civilization. You killed these people for some backyard shit with a sheep and a goat herder. It don't got no science in it, and now everybody's fucking lost running around believing in mythos that's not backed by science. Now, I'm not knocking mythos.
Mm-hmm.
Mythos got to bring you back to the science,
Right.
because all of these mythological, you know, everything that you see here, right, by admittance of what they even say in their science, the majority of these was all tied to astrological
So,
occurrences, right? So once again, evidence of high science. These people was not in the sky looking for a god.
mm-hmm.
They had their mythos tied into their cosmology. You feel me?
Right.
Serpent Mound itself, they said, is over 10,000 years old.
Yeah.
Right? If not 100,000. There you go. This is Serpent Mound in Ohio, right?
Wow. Mm-hmm.
So you don't know, like dummies don't come up with this, y'all. People that's not all the way on top of their game. You don't get around to the game and do this while you're getting the game.
Mm-hmm.
You've already maximized the game, mastered it, and then you're able to leave it as a recorded record in the earth. Right? So if people don't know how this works, this is a earthbound cosmological map of how they traced it. Solstices and equinoxes. These were like calendars, y'all. Right? This is how people knew, right? Because I went to Serpent Mound and we was there during the spring equinox, and the sun hit a particular sector of it and the shit kind of lit up.
Mm-hmm. And
Right?
see,
It's arranged in a precise way that when the sun come in and hit it, I mean, the shit crazy.
so look, it's funny you say that, because that's prevalent in architecture from Canada down to Mesoamerica down to South America, right? So,
The
you know,
entire America,
whereas
yes.
we're taught that, and of course there were a number of tribes, but we were taught in a sense that these places did not interact, trade, or you know, have no relation to each other. The whole Mississippi culture, you know, has been swept under the rug. I saw a museum exhibit about it in Miami not long ago, and I thought some of the artifacts came from Egypt. Some of the artifacts looked like they came from Mexico. They said, "Nah, this is from Mississippi." All gold, you know. So even down to the gods, we had Powhatan in the northeast, right? So when you have colonial settlers coming to North America, you have Chief Powhatan. We also have the powwow. That's where we get the powwow now. But Powhatan is a god, and it was a Mayan god, right? And
Right.
it's spelled completely different. Let me see if I can get how it's spelled real quick. And you know, to that point, though, I'm watching some fights, some UFC fights the other day, and it's like, oh, this is brother from Brazil who's fighting, and they call him Powhatan, but they say it means hands of stone. And I'm like, nah. He came up with the whole indigenous garb and everything, dressed up with the feathered headdress, and his name is Powhatan. And this is in Brazil. And they're like, this is the indigenous name in Brazil. I'm like, wow. You have North, Central, and South America all have a recollection of the same deity to this day.
Right. That's Emerald Mound in Mississippi. Feel me? These are the glyphs that they found, right? Iconography involved in the southeastern ceremonial complex rituals of the path of souls that has been found at the wall sites. You know, this is a very aerial view of the Emerald Mound. This is all Mississippian.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I'm saying? Look at this high civilization, right?
Yeah, and that's one thing you mentioned. It's you talk about high civilization, right? How do you, outside from ability to cooperate, because I see cooperation as the highest level of intelligence. When you sent me the article the other day about bees and ants, that's interesting as well, because bees have always been like my favorite insect, as well as ants. Anything that can cooperate, I admire that ability, because cooperation to me is intelligence.
Let me just, very quick. I want to just, because I didn't even bring that article up yet to the family. So this article, family, they were saying that evolution, right?
Power time.
Evolution.
Go ahead.
They said that we are still evolving as a species. And they said that ultimately we're going to evolve into a species dissimilar to bees and ants, right? Where they're going to control the narrative to such a degree that there's no competing narrative. They said once everyone is on one accord, right? And they are utilizing the aspects of democracy means moral rules. So if 90% of people vote for something, then it's a go. They said that they're looking to minimize the opposition to such a degree and get the groupthink so maximized that the groupthink now is going to evolve the species into one thought, one mind. So everybody moves as one. They're really on a one world shit on an evolutionary scientific level. Look, I showed you right here. Go Google the motherfucking article and do the research, okay? First bees and ants and now people. The evolutionary transition might be coming for humanity. A revolutionary evolutionary theory maintains that humanity is changing dramatically such that the individual may cease to be an independent biological being and society itself may become an organism, in fact, a superorganism, right? So, yeah,
Let me intercede real quick if I can.
please.
When you sent me that article, one of the first things I said, remember I said, I feel we were there with Babylon.
Yes.
And
Right.
to that point is I've always had this intuition, this download, right? It's read it nowhere, it's just one of those. It just makes sense to me. Where us all on one accord, not only does it eliminate democracy, which you just spoke to, but it gives us full control over this planet as a body, if you know what I'm saying. The same way that your neurons, in a sense, come together to have a consciousness for your body or a self-awareness that calls itself I feel that we, organized, will become neurons to this planet, right? So you have planetary intelligence. However, if our egos aren't checked, in this sense, it's saying the goal is to eliminate the ego through tech, or that's a consequence. But as tying it back to Babylon, I feel that singularity on a planet will further our arrogance, in a sense, and our ability to challenge nature and divinity. I also feel like we were already telepathic before we had any of these devices, or at least that we were more sensitive to clairvoyance. Just by, if you study the stars in space, you keep saying that. How do you measure a high civilization? All of them were masters of astronomy. And why that's so important is because Elon Musk, Bezos, as you're well aware right now, it's a space race. Trump with the Space Force.
Yes.
How many countries over the world are trying to put satellites into space, harness nuclear energy? So to that point it's the epitome of high science and civilization. It's the ability to know what's going on up there, study it, replicate it down here.
Yeah, right.
You know what I'm saying? And
You get y'all some evidence of that. This is the main dude in the Americas right here, right? This is Birdman. Feel me? They say illustration of a warrior with feathers found on copper ornaments at Etowah. This is an Etowah mound. This is a few miles from here in Georgia. I've been to Etowah a few times. Shout out to KB, the ghetto shaman, right? We should do mound tours out there. So, the way that the Birdman motif is tied in, it's almost like the feather serpent. He's like a Jehudi Teotihuacan figure, a Quasicoatl type of individual. But my guy stayed drippy. He had the bling on at all times. You feel me? He carrying heads of ops. He got that axe, that skip. You know what I mean? Like, he was a warrior god. But you find the Birdman motif all throughout, the Americas. Mainly, the eastern aspect, the eastern seaboard of the Americas. You find this Birdman, especially real strong in Louisiana, where Birdman come from. You know what I'm saying? We fly in any weather. So, yeah, all of these mounds, that we're seeing, you know what I'm saying? These were all in accordance to different astrological settings for the most part. You know, so do know and understand, you know what I'm saying, when these people came over here, they destroyed and decimated high civilization. You feel me? People that was on the highest spectrum of knowledge and information. You would love to know what book this is. All right, I'm gonna show it to you. The Illustrated Encyclopedia of Native American Indian Mounds and Earthworks. Okay? The Illustrated Encyclopedia of Native American Indian Mounds and Earthworks.
My bad, my bad.
Yeah.
But, you know, and to that point, how long does it take a society? Just imagine yourself, no technology, and it's just you. How many lifetimes does it take for you to know that there's a precession of the equinoxes, that the sun's moving a degree this way and then a degree that way? You know, that came down transmission of generations, thousands of generations, you feel me? Like, and then to build architecture around that, right? So that means we started building here and we couldn't even check to know we were right till next year, to the next equinox, unless we were mathematic geniuses and could compensate for the fact that, hey, X amount of days passed, so the angle is here, so now we actually have to use the sun this way, and the sun's going to rise a little later today, so we have to take all of that into account when we're measuring, right? So that's thousands of generations of science embedded in culture, right? It's not just taught as, it wasn't just taught as a science, and that's another thing that we have to bring back to our community, is the fact that culture wasn't entertainment. Culture isn't, you know, our ability to sell how we turned the science into symbolism, right? Culture it's an education system, essentially, that's subconscious. It's embedded into the backdrop of your society, so that your spiritual system, your understanding of science, and all of that are encompassed in your culture.
Absolutely. Like I showed the family this earlier. You know, let's get this book right here is crazy. Right? Hidden Cities, The Discovery and Loss of Ancient North American Civilization. Roger G. Kennedy. Yeah. George Washington, His Land, Its Inhabitants, and the Cincinnati Solution. You know, explaining to them, you know, what Cincinnati is and why Cincinnati is what it is to them. It's the city of seven hills. They literally have resurrected Rome over here. They resurrected Egypt over here. You know what I'm saying? Jerusalem is over here. All of it. They're able to overlay so many different civilizations, right? Babylon, all of it, right here in the Americas. You know, because these lands were so vast and so magical, and there was so many things going on that we have no idea about. I mean, it's in your DNA, but you got to tap into the land.
Mm-hmm.
Romanism on the Muskegum, you know.
I mean, look what they've done now, right? They've taken the science of city building according to astronomical principles and cosmological principles, and they've amplified it times 10 to the point where, I wonder if we got any mechanical engineers in here, but anybody who works with like circuitry or electricity and knows how a city works, and many people are familiar with the concept of how cities work, like circuit boards, at least look like them. But
right.
What's not spoken of at all is how our traffic systems literally work, how inputs and outputs work on the circuit board, which energy is allowed to be permitted and go where, when, right? It's like opening and shutting gates is the way that we speak about it in AI, if I create an artificial intelligence modeled after a brain with so many neurons and it's trained on X amount of data, some of those neurons I want to fire when it's exposed to certain information, and other neurons I want it to turn off. We don't, the neurons responsible for irrelevant information to that task or data at the time, right? If it's all firing at once, then you get those jumbled results that we were speaking on that we saw earlier. However, if this neuron knows when to speak and this one knows when to shut up, then you have an efficient system of transportation, communication, or whatever. It's like anything, really. It's like communities, societies, a matter of playing your part and knowing when to do what.
I'm trying to find, while you're talking, I got a book that goes into this. So, these days to me, it's like nothing like a book. Give people some reference. You know what I'm saying? Here we go.
Yeah, I've seen some of your books. I know you got the library there. Yeah. I've seen a fraction of them books just in the living room.
That's
the light.
What you talking about is geomancy.
Come on now.
So this is the undergirding and the underlaying of everything that you're talking about. This is how the planning on the surface takes place. Once they know the earth grid, ley lines, feng shui, divination, dowsing, and dragon, what they call dragon lines, right? The knowledge of how these different lines, right? Like I said, there's a pyramid line across this country, across the globe at 19.5 degrees parallel, right? This pyramid line can be found. This is where all the pyramids are built along this particular parallel line.
Yeah, close to the equator.
Yeah.
Copy.
And it's all forming geometry. It's all geometrics, right? These are natural grids. Mount Shasta sits on the natural grid. You feel me? So latitudinal harmonics, all of this science that goes into this planet. And why things are not arbitrary, if we're saying, look, they got a spell, it's because they know how to tap into the vortex points. I told somebody the other day, it's like you out here trying to free up millions of people individually. I'm like, the spell is in the nodal point of the vortex of the grids. Just go to the grid and work on the ley line, work on the nodal point, and then you're going to free up the people that's trapped between the nodes. It's a signal. You got to offset the signal. So they have their cathedrals and everything because our people gridded the planet by putting the earth mounds on the grid points, on the ley lines. They were almost like nipples, pressures, and then they decimated the mounds and they put churches and cathedrals and everything on top of that. You feel me?
Right.
So
over our own churches. Look, I'm reading this joint called Conquistador.
Yeah.
And one of the first things, bro, it's sad. Like, Cortez pulled up the first order of business when they made it to the center of the city was to get to the top of the temple. The focus wasn't even the military at the point. They said, if we can get up there to that temple that they have, cut that ceiba tree and just take the priests, we're good. It didn't really work out as they planned. However, my point is that their first order of business, though, was to get that temple and put a cross on it. He ordered that done immediately. And as soon as they were able to capture it, he had people come and scrub the blood off of it, did all of these, held mass there and all that right there on the temple within a couple weeks of taking it over. That's how important it was for them to do that. And I actually went to some of these temples,
because of that, right? These particular grid points, once again, the psychological warfare, the aspect of what these things actually mean once they take them over and they set those things in place, right? How they're changing the nodal frequencies. We don't look at the cross as a device of that nature. You know, again, we're not looking at this stuff as science. You know what I'm saying? We just in our feelings.
Mm-hmm.
Like, nah, they're working sorcery. You feel me? This because the cross is the cube. So the cross has a cube, meaning that if you take a cross and you fold it, right, it's gonna fold it to a box. You feel me? So the box is how you contain the units. What they're doing now, they're putting people in boxes and boxes and boxes.
Mm-hmm.
So how do you you know, especially talking electricity, how do you create that where you pulling everything into that grid or that box? Use a cross.
Right. Right.
Yeah.
It's funny
So
you mentioned that too, because you know, Henry DeSoto, another conquistador, when he got to Florida, he said he saw the indigenous facing westward at his palace, which was aiming towards sunset, and he had a cross already there. And this was pre-Christian contact. You know, speaking to the point that this symbol it wasn't a Christian symbol. It's not only a reference to the Ankh either. It's a mathematic principle relating to I am here and now, and then spatial awareness.
I mean, look, no, yeah, I mean, it's the cosmic cross. It exists in all traditions and religions. This is the Dogon,
Mm-hmm.
right? They got the Congo cross, and the Hopi got one too. It's
Right.
red, black, white, and red. It represents the different phases of the sun. It's the same shit you find in Kemet. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
So it represents the cross of time and space. It represents, I mean, it's an old ass motif. You feel me?
Yeah.
These people are not working no new information.
Right.
They using the shit that has always worked. They just turned it and now they working on us. Or the people, quote unquote. Mm-hmm.
That's actually
So,
a board game that the Mayans used to play. A board game that revolved around the cross called Capoli.
But yeah.
Yeah, we embody all those systems, right? And that's my approach towards technology is such a holistic approach, right? People think that it's rooted in the technology itself, but what it's become for me, all sciences are a spiritual practice. When you can identify what God is, and I'm talking a principle of nature, not nature in the sense of what you can see and touch like trees outside. I'm talking about the actual intelligence, the thing that tells the tree to grow again, right? You'll see this principle, and we talk about it all the time, this underlying thing in everything, whether it's sound, whether it's color, geometry, but there's only one thing going on in every single discipline. And you know, that's my approach towards tech. That's what the Magi's, the voodoo priests would be doing today. We have to know what time we're in and what the magic is of the day. You know what I'm saying? And economy, that's a spiritual thing, right? How we exchange our energy and who we exchange it with, and as I segue into a crypto blockchain conversation, is a spiritual practice. Why do you think the Jews got why is their whole system so tight? I was about to say some things that get us kicked off, so I had to cut myself short real quick. But you know, when you think about it, there's everything that we've demystified and have allowed to become an everyday practice. We're getting our asses kicked in. So when when magic became science, and we were fed the two separately, not understanding that back in the day we were the scientists and they didn't know any better, so they saw magic. So in their mythology and all these medieval texts, they were documenting magicians. But that was never us. That's a colonial era, post-colonial era
distortion.
approach. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. So we have to reclaim what's ours. Number one, re-educate ourselves. and take our shit back.
Right. So, in regards to blockchain and AI development and programming, is there something that you're offering, that the people can engage with, moving into these winter months? Can they hibernate and come out, first quarter blazing with a new skill set?
Look, let me show you better than I can tell you. So we got the university, right?
Right.
Where I'm actually teaching a number of skills from AI to blockchain, how to build blockchain from scratch, how to build software as a service, again, AI models from scratch, chatbots, machine learning, blockchain engineering, all of this stuff available on the university. And even a beginner class, you come in, you come through the programming portal. I get you ready for whatever you need to, or whatever you're interested in. So don't worry about being behind. I also make it very digestible. I built the curriculum myself in a way that I would learn the code if I had just started out. It's geared towards us and our people, the way we think. We're great with variables. We're great with math. We just use it subconsciously and in other ways. Language, entertainment, arts being one of them. But yeah, so that's one of them. Let me show you what else we got though. Let me show you the capabilities you can do. You can walk away with once you come to the university. So,
right.
This is a crypto key generating web app. I built this in about a week's time. Very simple. You come here and it'll generate your private and public keys, but you can store them offline. So this is not stored in any database like Coinbase, Trust Wallet, MetaMask. They all have to store your keys on the back end, and you access them through a traditional password that they give you, which is associated with your private key in their database, right? So you never really even have access to it unless you store it somewhere. This tool allows you to do that, and it doesn't store it. And you can even import your private key into a wallet down the line. Oh, they asking for the website name. Should I drop it? The Blue? I ain't. Nobody even know yet. Why not? Right?
I mean, if you're trying to bring people in now, that's one thing. If not, if we're gonna come back and present them with something when everything is ready, either you're ready or not for them.
All right, for this one for the people here. How about that? Right, for the people here. But this one,
what's that you just showed? If you don't got that one, tighten up and ready. Right. The university. What's the site for that?
Yeah. Okay, yeah. Let's keep on there real quick. The university, spelled just like it sounds. HUNIVERSITY.org. You come in there, you just go down to apply now. All right, Brother Blue, you want to put a code in here?
Yeah.
You want to pin that thing? I'm going to put a code since you guys are hearing about this by way of Brother Blue's live. There's a promo code you can use if you do come to apply. And you're going to put it in here. Just bear with me. I'll put it in the comments. Use that if you do sign up. And you'll get some bonus features in there. Got some AI gems in there for you as well. But we have a number of things that we are working on, family. Show you a couple more toys that I have here.
Yeah, I'm like, these people bugging, not child, I'm saying like what they talking about in the crypto realm as they, watch that centralized shit fall to pieces. We still over here building, the blockchain is ready, the metaverse is ready. You feel me? Like, there's a lot that we have already finished and scaled out the token, been ready.
Why are we still worried about other people's blockchains anyway? when we can do this. We can build our own everything. There's no purpose, running into their systems. And I think that's something else we should actually.
Yeah, I think that, again, that's why this opportunity, presented in the way that it is, I think that a lot more people are gonna. I think now a lot more people get it. Just based on what we've been through in the last 2 months, both sides, one side, and both of them deal with centralization, y'all. Censoring people and saying that you can't say certain things on the internet was supposed to be an open forum about particular people. That's one aspect of centralization. The other aspect of it is the thing with FTX, right? If that was open ledger blockchain, if that was what it was supposed to be, right? How did it devolve into what it devolved into with them losing over 1.4 or whatever they lost?
How does any money end up unaccounted for?
How does any money end up unaccounted for? That's not crypto.
Not blockchain.
It's Ponzi. It's crypto in regards to it meaning secrecy, because this is a cryptocracy. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
And again, I'm noticing, once government got involved, not the people that regulate, the people that are now figuring out how to pull a jug.
Mm-hmm.
That's what a lot more. When government started peeping around, then the scandals started becoming more high tech and more high end, because they was utilizing that boy to reroute bread to their black ops, to their Democrat. It dried up with the Weinstein. They need a new funder, so he was giving them what they need. They was and that's why he's still allowed to kick his feet up on the cabana and act like nothing happened.
Yeah.
He said he got $1 million.
Not even that. He got a bag, bro.
Kanye fucked his own money up.
Yeah, sometimes I feel like that whole thing is a op. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
like,
he burned his own money down, and the people flew him in public like they lost the money, like they lost bread with him.
mm-hmm.
This white boy went and lost 1 million plus people's bread, and he's still running around,
right,
laughing and joking on the internet.
Yeah, the news representation of this man is what's really striking.
They say nothing crazy about him.
Right. It was a mistake.
It was a mistake.
You know what I'm saying?
They're still holding him up in the highest of regards, and he's showing himself to be a fumbling, bumbling idiot. Like it was a sham shell company,
right?
And they not crazy
and
about these. I'm like, who? We're talking about the 28 or 29, damn near same age as Takeoff, kid or a man behind a crypto firm called FTX. I believe his name is Sam Bankman-Fried, or some shit like that.
Yeah. I forget his
He's the man who fried the bank, and he's Sam. He represents Uncle Sam. He was the second largest Democratic donor. His company went up in smoke on election day.
You ran the numbers on that, man?
Yeah, he got weird ass numbers. When the Taurus blood moon hit, right? Taurus financial institutions. We know what the blood is hitting for: Scorpio's transformation and death, right? Signaled a few days after the 14th birthday of cryptocurrency, which was born on October 31st, 2008.
Mm-hmm.
So a few days after its 14th birthday, it got bodied.
Right.
Blood on the dance floor. That was the shit that they put on the altar for that blood moon. Taurus, all money, bloody. Nobody seen it. It's right in front of their face, and people still laughing and joking. I'm like, shit, it's gonna be a cold winter. It's gonna be a cold winter.
Right, brother.
And they talking about. I was listening to the brothers from EYL, and they was like, they experts is telling them 2025 is when these people coming out of recession, and there's gonna be money running through the system again.
Look at Red Coin. He said 15 billion in 3 days, and he's not in jail.
Not in jail.
Imagine.
Indictment. He's not in jail. They not talking prison. They not talking.
He ain't magically disappear.
He ain't magically
You know what I'm saying?
disappear. How you gonna F off 15 Bs? The biggest Ponzi beyond Madoff.
You can feed the continent. Feel me? You know what I'm saying? But
yeah, talking about double standards, right? Ye effed off his own bread for a multinational corporation. This slice they're taking 50%, getting rid of him. They shot themselves in the foot. This dude was running a shell corporation, borrowing money from company A and lending it to company B. I mean, that's the oldest game in the book. And he's a small hack. And no one's even making those connections because you can't say it in public now. So Zuckerberg, him, and Elon throw his ass in the pot because he's South African. Fuck him.
He African American, bro. We talked about
it. American, yeah.
You know what I mean?
Cost of about
he's not a Moor. He's not a Moor though. You feel me?
Yeah. and Bezos people Lebanese, so I'm sure that they Sephardic somewhere down they pipe, you know, they bloodline. So yeah, he wiped out Tom Brady savings while he was getting divorced.
Nah. I mean, what does that highlight though? I mean, did we already forget about Brett Favre? Right?
Yeah.
And the magnitude is different, but
yeah,
Favre finessed them, you know.
Are you teaching how to get away with 15 billion in the crypto? Because that's people want to sign up to that course.
Right. That's what people really want. Like,
look,
you have different objectives.
Done. So what I'm saying is that with all of this distastefulness, you know, all of what people have been able to see, I think that especially once the bite gets a little bit tighter and people realize that they're paying the price for mistakes that entitled little white men have done for these last few months, and you're going to be holding the bag, family, right? People are going to really want to learn, you know what I'm saying, how to take things into their own hands and create from their own vision and the stuff that they know, you know, that's going to come to them in dreams and visions to say, yo, this is the new way to do business, the new way to do this. Just, you're going to get downloads, y'all. You're going to get breakthroughs, but how do you maximize on that? You're going to try to hit up a developer in the Philippines or something like that. You know what I'm saying? Or Ukraine, or you're going to take matters in your own hand when you know, in the crib this winter and learn programming, learn a new language. You know what I'm saying? Get with the program. We have to program AI if we want AI to work for us. It's not going to happen happenstancely. You know what I'm saying? It's not going to happen by default. Right. You got to program it. You got to put the work in. And in order to do that, you need the skill set. And in order to do that, you got to go to the university.
Right. We're teaching a lot more than just how to code. We're teaching a whole different approach to how to think. Algorithmic thinking is one of my favorite terms. Anybody can claim to have a solution for something, right? And how do you vet who's qualified to do what? That's always a problem. Red is killing me in these comments right now. But going on.
He's right. Imagine if we have 15 coders.
For real though.
We represent we could hit Elon directly, like,
come on now.
It'd
be crazy. But I think it's a useful skill to have for so many different reasons, because what I do every day when I build an algorithm is I solve a problem. And that problem can be anything. Sometimes I create a problem while trying to solve another problem. It's in the math. It's consequential to me coding. I run into these errors. I have a post a couple weeks back saying I fail hundreds of times a day just doing trial and error. But what that also enables me to do is you can't turn that kind of thinking off. You see a problem anywhere, you're able to identify the variables, classify them, separate them, know what to align with what and how they should interact. And it's bigger than code. Life is a program. our brains, we think in algorithms. I always explain it to the students who come to the introduction. So you may hear this again if you sign up. But every day when you have a goal, that's the objective of the program. And the actions and thoughts you take to accomplish that goal is you running the algorithm, right? So whether it's I need to go get something from the store and that store being closed, the algorithm says I have to go elsewhere. That's how programs work. Now, I go elsewhere, and if they have my product, I'm good. I can go home. But if they don't, then I have to again go elsewhere, right? But you develop a system that you can step away from and say to run autonomously until you solve my problem. And what computers can do is run all of these calculations so fast that if you can build the algorithm properly, then you can't fail. And why that's important is because if we can come together and we can look at the world, all of the problems in it, identify the problems, identify the variables for the solutions, and we can design algorithms for ourselves, not AI, but the algorithm will be us in action. Hey, you do this, I do that, this person does that, have this done by this date, and we can start moving as an actionable people, right? But it all comes with the alchemy of the mind, right? So that's always my first step.
Yes. That engineering mind, the power of the engineering mind. I seen El Kibalan tap in, we know brother, he's a Metatronics student. You feel me? So he's going to school as well to learn aspects of engineering. And, you two brothers in particular, with your computational minds, the way that you approach problems and put them, like you said, in categories and simplify them. Once you break them up and you put them in their prospective place, you know what I mean? Then we're able to deal with them in a way in which, all right, this deserves this amount of energy and attention and focus. I got to deep dive, you know what I'm saying, over here, this understood and to get around it. And then you just start solving problems. And then it's like a domino effect. You knock one of them shits down and boop, 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 boop.
Right.
You feel me?
You ever encounter somebody who's brilliant or they're on to the right things, but they're always just 1 degree off, and you realize that they're just asking the wrong question. It's not the lack of cognitive ability or anything like that. It's just that they're asking the wrong question. Yeah. I feel like, that's the essential part of critical thinking. If you know what question to ask, you're already 50% of the way there. Then if you reverse engineer the question, you have the answer, is what I always say.
Well, yeah. Mm-hmm. The answer is always qualified, by the question. So we have to learn how to ask better questions, and we have to learn how to program our prompts better, right? So that's almost like asking a question. So me working with AI generated art, I'm learning how to be more specific with your prompts.
Mm-hmm.
The same thing in life, right? It's the same thing in your relationship.
With the universe, bro.
Right. You got to be more specific. You know what I'm saying? And you will also find that in spiritual readings and divination. When you come to the spirit, when you come to your ancestors and you want to dialogue and have spiritual dialogue, you or the priest is more qualified. Your answer that you're going to get in your reading is more qualified by how clear you ask the question.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
So we have to stop making these distinctions when we speak about computer and creator, right? Almighty intelligence versus artificial intelligence is still operating on the same metric / data set. If you really allow yourself to get out of your way, because people want to own this concept of God so much they're getting emotional.
Mm-hmm.
I'm like, no, simulation, nigga, stop. You're in a simulation.
Right.
You have to learn how to press a combination of sets better. That's all. You could call this shit up.
Yeah, it's about programming your reality.
Right, yeah. if to never show you that we in a simulation, I'm gonna show you that in real time, and wait till we start plugging these metrics in. Them gematria niggas, as I'm telling you, they're lifting the hood of consciousness and peeking, and they don't even know what they're looking at. So they keep saying it's conspiracy, it's conspiracy. I'm like, no, you're looking at the wiring. You're looking at the mechanics. Like if I was to tear off what's considered what's it called, the GUI, right? The user
Yeah.
interface, the graphic user
Yep.
interface. If you tear the graphic user interface off, if I tear this particular film off and you see matrix numbers behind my face, right? Those numbers are running the simulation, or the coding has you what? Thinking that you see in flesh, right? It's the same thing. It's the same thing. Gematria is showing them the mechanics of how this shit has been programmed. And they think they're looking at a conspiracy.
Right.
I'm like, oh, you mean so the Jewish people induced the birth of Takeoff for a specific day, added up, put the shit in the future calendar, a calculator,
Right.
and created these series of events so the bullet could fly at a particular trajectory so they could. I'm like, son, stop it. You looking at the wiring. You're looking at the evidence of the presence of intelligence. That's all you guys looking at. And you don't know what you look, and then you castigating it by X, Y, and Z. Now, can it be manipulated? Right? If I could foresee how to, if I understand the measurements, I can get before it and be like, okay, that's X, Y, and Z. It's like that ain't what people think it is. So we got access to a lot of data sets and a lot of data points to actually, then because we out here trying to be active and they're trying to solve Illuminati cold cases. Like,
Bro,
yeah,
it's
that
crazy, man.
you feel me?
You coined it earlier when you're like, it's the wrong time to be having an identity issue when these people know exactly who we are. You got people who got AI that sequenced our entire genome. They in Israel, they digging stuff up, never released the DNA data, and never corroborated, with their own and make that transparent. So they know exactly who we are. What's good with all these identity games, right? They want to get us riled up in the wrong direction. They know it's too late for to turn any of this back. But you said something else to you. Oh, DNA is digital. So when it comes to this being that simulation, this holographic reality that we are co-creators of, we store the information within ourselves. And I can run that back. The data's not even in the DNA. The DNA is where the energy waves imprint on. So it's kind of like a vinyl record or or tape film, where it's the frequency that's implanted on the substance that allows you to read it and track its memory. However, it's raw frequency itself that is the memory. Because every event, every action emits a wave, thought, etc. But DNA is digital, and this is our first digital world. And we can't let ourselves and other people forget this is a simulation. We and one of the things I teach when I'm teaching programming is how the ego can be trained like an AI. You touched on prompting. Yeah, I want to write a whole book on this. It just be tied up all over the place. But you touched on prompting and just being specific and intentional with your words. And that's one of the most powerful things you could do. When I have to build a program, I have to write out everything. And sometimes it's not in chronological order or any sequence whatsoever. So, but I have to be specific before I start making the program. And if I build a program and I don't name a single variable, if I write an X that hasn't been defined previously, meaning I say, hey, X equals 7 or whatever the case may be, it'll say, this isn't recognized. We don't even know this. Get this out of here. Everything has to be accounted for in your vision, is my point. And the more specific you are, the more the higher the chances of its manifestation. I say you have rhythm, which is consistency. You have your visualization, and rhythm is music, by the way. Visualization, you're taking color, you add it to the spectrum, and the action is force, right? And you have the you have the three legs of the stool to get something to stand in 3D. You know what I mean?
Look, I got this article from, again, a Jewish Research Institute, where they say they've proven that they can use music to create a pandemic.
Oh yeah, yeah, that's so.
I got the
Yeah, I send that. Put that up or send that thing though. But hey, like, why they try to censor jazz? I have a book right from the 20s and 30s when jazz is just called jungle noise and nigga music throughout the whole thing, right?
Mm-hmm.
And when I do my studies on censorship in the 80s, I'm seeing the same rhetoric, the same arguments being used, right? And they knew the power of our music. They know it's literally hypnosis. The myth of sirens and mermaids leading sailors to this island and all that. They've been obsessed with our music since the dawn of time. Our ability to create rhythms that their brain can't even conceive of. Polyrhythmic music and polyrhythmic dance during the classical period when people were thinking of Mozart. I have sources that show that when they encounter slaves, well, the slave community is the name of one of the books, but when they encountered our people on slave plantations dancing, they were bewildered. They didn't know what was going on, how people could make every bone in their body attached to a polyrhythm rhythm of a drum. Beethoven, who was a Moor, he was the first classical musician to include polyrhythms in the backdrop of his undertones. And you can research a study where people have studied his music and have proven that his rhythms come from the mother continent. I can go on forever with that. There's so much more to that. But yeah, what was the article you pulled up?
Yeah, I'm sourcing it right now. You could keep building. I did want to tell the people about, tomorrow's the new moon on the 23rd in Sag. You want to program and be intentional, right, about what you want your 2023 to look like. Don't miss the window or the opportunity. I spoke earlier. There's a brother that I follow, his page. You can go and check him out. He has some advice about, how to set about writing your intentions, your new moon intentions, if people are not familiar with how to do that. You know what I'm saying? You definitely want to get familiar. I'll put a link up. But yeah.
That's powerful too. You was touching on that before I jumped in, man. I think everybody should work more with the moon. It's all indigenous systems, as we spoke on earlier, modeled after astrological systems. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. And earlier, I just scaled through. I scaled through all of this information, showing, that all we did as an indigenous people was measure, the cosmos. And we were super mindful of all moon phases. We never missed that.
Mm-hmm. And they're good to build with, right? So, like, as a creator, I come from an artist background.
Wait, just to show you, just to double up, or look at the beef biters. Pause. Right. Consciousness must be beyond computable physics. The mathematician shares his latest theories on quantum consciousness, the structure of the universe, and how to communicate with civilizations from other cosmological eons. Right? That's not your science, buddy. Okay? They out here jacking bars.
Right. I mean, they're babies, though. It's kind of like being a parent and trying to teach kids something, or like my niece, when I'm talking to my little nieces, and they figure it out years later. You know what I mean? Like, what are you gonna do when when a child matures, right?
Child matures.
It's, you know, when you sent me the article the other day, I was like, now they're just regurgitating our common sense. There are things that are embedded into religions as, you know, again, as mythos, as art and entertainment, that they have denied, rejected, discredited, wrote entire, you know, document or edicts against, just to come full circle around and say, oh, you know, this is what it is. The theory of relativity that Einstein had is the whole premise of Buddhism and Hinduism, that everything is relative. That's an ancient concept. You know what I'm saying? The idea of the multiverse, you know, these are ancient concepts. The metaverse is an ancient concept. The metaverse is an ancient concept that was the mother of all multiverses, which is why it was the meta, you know, the beyond, the multiverse. So, you know, they always come back around with it.
Here's another one, and I wanted to build on this the other day. We got to come back and talk about this. A new brain model could pave the way for conscious AI, right? A new study presents a new neurocomputational model of the human brain, which might shed light on how the brain develops complex cognitive skills and advanced neural artificial intelligence research. And international teams of scientists from the Institut Pasteur in Sorbonne University. Yeah. So, you know, they're on that bullshit.
Yeah,
We're going to get into it.
Yeah, we're going to get there. Even with that, I feel, you know, there's a bunch of different AI architectures. There's the computer vision architecture, right? There's audio mapping, and then there's natural language processing, right? I feel once we have the processing power, and, you know, these quantum computers are going to do what they do. But cloud computing is also going to bring a lot of these capabilities to the consumer as well. But I foresee in the near future artificial intelligence models that use like bilateral hemisphere brain function the same way we do, in the sense that it'll be divided in its architecture. So you have one kind of AI architecture that's quote unquote left or right brain, and then another one for the correspondent. And that's how we'll make an attempt towards cognition. I think the hemispheres of our brain are representative of, again, you know, the dual principle to create anything. You want to have a child, you want to jump a car, you want to generate electricity, anything that that requires creation or even to sustain, it relies on that polarity. I've messed with the idea myself, but here we go with cloud. That's just a data center. No, it's not. Entire programs run in the cloud. but yeah, cloud computing is going to take us far as well. You can now make a program that you can interact with from anywhere on a basic device that your device does not have the computational power to run, whether it's artificial intelligence models or whatever. You can put the program in a cloud so that other people can access it.
Okay.
Checking out these comments. So much info to cut through. Oh yeah, resonance. There's a few comments I was trying to touch on.
Look, y'all, they setting y'all up. Hold on. Setting y'all up. They set y'all up. They set y'all up. Ooh, don't walk into it. They set y'all up. They set y'all up.
Mm-hmm. You know, and to that point too, you know, we spoke about that briefly as well. How
set up.
But
I
Isn't
tell you,
it interesting though that they don't have the cultural the cultural influence to make the moves that they want? They have all the money influence to pay this businessman to fire a Kyrie Irving or to cease business with the Kanye West, but the Kyrie Irvings and the Kanye West are who hold the cultural influence. So and it really highlights something here that our people have always had the power. We are the wealth. You know what I'm saying? We are the influence. It's the slave trade, for all intents and purposes, is still running today. Is them just marketing everything that we produce, and us owning none of it. But our influence is everything. When Dave Chappelle did his SNL monologue on the whole thing, and then you had the CEO of the ADL come out, and you can tell that they felt some kind of way, that they made all of this noise. They're used to getting their way from the jump, but this pushback was just too much for them, and it highlights that our cultural influence is stronger than their fiat influence. Right? And again, it's because of our value. Like I always say, when us rolling out this blockchain project, is there's only one currency: time, energy, and attention, and they're all the same thing. Time, energy, and attention are the same thing. All the energy I give right here, it costs me time and attention. All the attention you give, it costs time and energy. Right? You can't use one without them all.
look,
They're all core.
this is what I was looking for, but I fucked around and found something that was profound. Genetic code was loaded into a computer and interpreted as music.
Oh yeah. You can run anything as music, but that's crazy that they did it with that. You know what I'm saying? Like, because DNA is cymatics. When I was talking before about how energy puts itself, DNA is digital, and how energy implants itself in much the same way that we made vinyl music from. That's crazy. And I can tell you straight up how you can put anything in music, right? You put it on a scale between 1 and 13.
Remember the article as well, right? Because this is the cross correlating factor to it, is that they had came up with the information where they were showing scientifically how it's infectious, like an infection.
What do you think it looks like in geometry, cymatically?
Right? They said, look, they said electronic music is global music, but they said electronic music has a basic R number of 3,430, making it the most infectious music genre. So it would be the global music. EYL was touching on this the other day about, when you go out the country and you find out how different the world is from America, then you would understand why, Drake will make an electronic album, because the majority of the world, just like Afrobeat, they all dancing as America singular. The world is different, and all of the world is alike. The only thing different is America. Everybody else is alike. Hence, you can see by football or soccer. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
Wow. Scientists are turning molecules into music. Converting DNA sequences and particle vibrations into notes allows research to recognize unseen patterns and create songs for outreach. Wowzers. Wowzers.
So,
especially, being told me the future of science or healing modalities was going to be quantum. And they was talking about sound frequencies. Now I get it totally.
Yeah. I was Davina Bussey. She's a '90s R&B singer. She worked with Wu-Tang. She was in the movie So Good, but she's a friend of mine. I was actually on the same label as a producer with her a few years ago. She invited me out to Beverly Hills and put me on to a Dr. Schwartz, a German guy who had what's called a vibe bed, and that's the whole premise. It's a medical instrument to to play music through that bed and do sonic healing. And she was experimenting with her project on that thing before it went into production. It may not even be in production yet. But that's another study. Again, all studies it's a holistic approach, because when you study frequency, you're studying harmony and resonance, and that's in every situation, whether it's a conversation, whether we're talking planetary again, because the harmony of the spheres. Every planet has its own rotation, its rhythm, and its relationship with those around it. And this can all be converted into music. All of it. You take the 12 signs of the zodiac, right? And you got your 12 music notes, and then you start messing with your scales, and you know what you're looking at. But again, it's all relative. Nothing is fixed, as we're led to believe, especially when this thing works on a spiral.
Yeah. I don't know how I missed this. But this goes into the larger conversation. If science can artificially create viruses in the lab utilizing music, or if they could translate a virus into music, then the conversation goes, can the music they were listening to literally be a virus?
Mm-hmm.
I mean, you can't have one without the other. And they just said that COVID makes beautiful music. Hold on. I'll show it to you right here. They were selling this shit as NFTs. Nah. Bro, you know I don't tell the story. Scientists have turned the structure of the coronavirus into music. Sonification can help researchers identify binding sites for new drugs. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
Hold on.
But to that point, any data can be put on a scale or a spectrum that can be turned then into music. Whether it sounds good or bad, will reveal a lot about its structure.
Here we go. Song by Virus. Company selling C19 sound for NFT.
The
C19. You feel me? I don't say the word. I don't say the whole.
C19 type beat.
19. Yo, crank that C19 up. You get in the lab, you like, yeah, put that C19 on.
C19, the mixtape.
Yeah. I got these bars in my head. We ready to go. So, viral music. Viral. Not viral, but viral. Mm-hmm. Viral music is an exciting new NFT audio collection of songs that are created by the virus itself. The songs are made using the genetic sequence inside the coronavirus. Experts will take the genetic code. Somebody need their ass whooped. They couldn't even sequence this shit to get a solution, but they sequencing it to get songs.
Right. And why wasn't that? Why is that not the first thing?
Yeah. Like, people are listening to that. So if they can make a song that is not discordant, but it got C19 in it, what does the discordant sound look like? And what sort of virus is that shit?
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Right? We out here listening to whole music without running it through the cymatics to see, all right, well, what does NBA Youngboy sound like on the cymatic?
But look, people will know it ain't right. People will know it ain't. I've talked to people like, yeah, well, it don't influence me. I just want to turn up when I go out. This music really don't do nothing to me. But if you are aware, you know damn well, you know what I'm saying?
Damn.
You know what they consume.
Yeah.
Right? Consumption ain't right.
Yeah, you might get inebriated and maybe it doesn't affect you in your sober mind.
Right.
But when you get then inside of you that normally is used to dancing the frequency, this nigga, he ain't been in the body in a while. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
Icky leg with your shirt off in the middle of the street and you can't explain. Yeah. Yo, where these dance steps from? You know when niggas get drunk or they get possessed, right, and they got moves that they never had? That's that spirit.
Right. Right.
So yeah, like, we should be able in a year or two to scientifically prove that this murder music really has a energetic frequency and signature of murder. It's very intentional. Nigga, they said die, nigga, die. Like, what's hyperbole about that?
Right. What else you need?
Like, yeah, you know, it's my abstract way of doing art. Die, nigger, die is really an acronym for.
Mm-hmm. So, I mean, you grew up with it all. So, when would you say? Because I've actually been thinking about doing the numbers on this. Who was the first rapper you know that was murdered when you were coming up?
Scholar Rock.
Okay.
From Scholar Rock to PNB Rock. That's the survey right there.
Uh-huh.
You got to cut it off somewhere.
Right.
From Scholar Rock to PNB Rock.
Mm-hmm.
That should be the AI learning model right there. Let's feed
Okay.
the AI those data points, that data set, and see what we come out with. Because algorithmically, it's like this. And they made a good point by making an analysis on, to say, Fat Joe said this, the dude that got, that goes berserk when Annie Up come out. The nigga that said, yo, why they did PNB Rock like that? They got a song about stripping niggas down and robbing them and beating them with the gun.
Right.
Anyway, he was like, it was like every 3 or 4 years before we, lost a rapper. He was like, but it's so frequent now. So my thing is, if we lose a rapper every week, how many niggas is dying?
Mm-hmm.
Because the rapper dying is like the white roach. You see a white roach every million roaches.
Right.
The rapper dying is indicative of what's going on in the hood. They say it's a spillover, but it should not be the primary, or else rappers are targeted, or they got redemption on them, or they're speaking their own finality into existence.
Right.
So how many niggas is dying? Because we know a brother that works in the morgue. He said, fam, they not telling y'all what's going on in these streets. He's doing the math and saying, if these many bodies of melanated men is in this morgue drawer on a daily, just in this city, times that across the country, let alone the sisters that's coming at a record rate. I'm saying, he said the niggas is dying at an unprecedented rate right now.
Mm-hmm.
And it ain't from C-19.
Right.
They're getting sent up. You know what I'm saying? And the women is dying from complications in the hospital. Right? And not getting out of Grady like that. So what are the numbers? If the rappers are dying at this rapid rate, right? What's the frequency and the numbers on the general population of what, you know what I'm saying? The losses that the nigger nation is taking. I don't know what the numbers are on the nigger nation.
Right.
Because they don't have a census bureau for that.
Mm-hmm.
But y'all know that shit called Black Twitter and a whole bunch of other things. What's the number?
Right.
Because why people be focused on, what's the girl's name? Shanquilla? There has probably been 15 or 20 Shanquillas since we've been focused on Shanquilla.
Mm-hmm.
So these numbers is crazy. Like we owe it to ourselves to get some scientific data and shit. Pick up where C. Dolores Tucker left off.
Right. Now we are under genocide. There's no other way to coin it. It's genocide. When more people are being aborted than are born, and you have as many people as we do in prison, and then X amount of people with whatever sexual preferences they got, this is genocide. Endangered species. And
There's
unless we're strategized,
the population, if there's more wombs than there are, sperms to impregnate those wombs, and society's not set up and structured like that. We're just not running around, contrary to popular belief, just impregnating wombs. We're talking about having fully functional families in society. No, again, I will go back to that article that's speaking about the evolutionary process. So what happens with the evolutionary process is that when they beat you for the narrative, if they control the general population, they could socially engineer the population to do whatever they want the population to move at as a unit. So the promotion is going towards the LGBT community. Again, this is not personal. I'm just saying, let's look at where the marketing is at. Let's look at where they, you know, when they have a desired group that they treat like in a particular, when they show public interest to, right? We know that they're pushing people's, and then when they target children in the grade school level to educate their sexuality and to formulate ideas, to they are priming and programming children to identify their initiation of sexual introductions and engagement in one in which has already been tampered with because they went and showed them Bob with Steve and things of that nature. So you're creating thoughts and ideas in places where they're not even naturally being generated. And then when you promote so much, you can't look at Netflix.
Nah, you can't.
You can't see a net. There must be a clause in the Netflix show running script that it says this shit has to have a gay scene or you're not getting a budget.
You know what's crazy? It's like at first it was that.
Bro.
At first it was that. I was like, okay, that's what's
show?
going on. But then they even came for us harder by making every black man a bitch or like, I don't know, just zero masculinity whatsoever. Can't fight, scared of everything, hiding behind shorty for everything. You got she man running around saving everything. Like I can't watch. I don't even watch stuff no more. When I saw that there's a female he-woman on TV around the same time that they came out with the She-Hulk, and then that Coming to America 2 was about the woman becoming a queen, and now you got the Black Panther 2. So the removal of the black man is blatant. This is not even speculative. And if we are there, we're not there in our masculinity. So that's an attack. That's psychological warfare. And as you mentioned before, social engineering.
Social engineering is priming, you know what I'm saying? So once again, y'all, it's not about you, it's about your children. You feel me? And they are inundating them with subtle messages. Some are subtle and others are very abrupt and direct. So you got the high and you got the low going on. And there's no in between. In between, they see dysfunction. In between, they see no safety or security or, right? There's no semblance. There's no signal in there. It's just empty. Case in point, Kanye told people, the whole world, he said, my daddy is smarter than me. He said, my daddy is trying to save the planet with a water refinery plant in DR, of all places. They just had a fucking hurricane. Nobody was like, is your daddy safe? Right? Can you get your daddy on the phone since we can't talk to you and you won't listen? What would an interview look like with this man's father in the room? Nobody thought about that. They didn't even ask what his name was. They didn't ask what the website is. They didn't ask what his IG is. They didn't ask what his phone number is. They didn't ask none of that, as if he don't exist.
He was a Black Panther.
He was a Black Panther. Yeah, they're like, damn, we damn sure don't want to talk to you. He said he got broke. He's a broke. He's an ex-Black Panther.
Right.
He didn't put the dashiki away. He put the beret down. You know, he wants to talk to you guys. And they just keep talking about his mother that's not here. What about his daddy that's still here? Nobody thought to holler at him.
Right.
Ask no questions about his daddy. And then you're denuding him, and he's getting the nigga wake up in society to say it don't matter how much money you got. You will not be a fully functional father in society. Not in this household where we put skirts on men and shit like that.
Right. Right.
So we seeing it in real time. I mean, real time.
Mm-hmm.
And denying it every step of the way. We denying what we're looking at, what we're seeing every single step of the way. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
Because it's so subtle. It's just going past your filters. You're not catching it. And you get primed. And again, this is not personal because everyone is being utilized as a pawn on the chessboard. Mm-hmm. These are not people walking and stepping in their power. They have been a situation has been, right, socially constructed for them to operate a way in which it seems as if, right, God damn it, they got grace and favor of the creator and shit like that.
Mm-hmm.
Saying that they don't, but them folks is working with them to engineer a situation to make that look more palatable than what's natural, right? And then the children are going to have preferences, and that's how they're going to move in the world, and that's going to determine the future. So they said, yeah, we reach 8 billion people, but the birth that you're not going to sustain those numbers. That's the epoch. It's going no higher than that. It's going to fucking de-escalate and never go back up. This is the last generation. They like, we actually don't need people no more in the simulation. We got your data.
Right.
Your data. We don't need you in the next 15 to 20 years. And then then there are all these other articles that I got about them dimming the sun. Here this one go. And this is not just China. This is coming out of Harvard, right? And they're making a big case for it.
Bill Gates was one of the first people to propose it.
They're saying this is real science. This just came out today, and they're dead ass with this. And they're like, this is not for now. This is for 30 years from now. So 30 years from now, roughly, is going to put it past the 2050 mark, which is when they say that they're going to be experiencing population decline, right? This is when they allege that the transference of them becoming a minority in this country is going to happen. But it's also when we change Polaris as our North Star, and we change to Cepheus, which is the Ethiopian or the Kushite king. So they can't,
That's an assault on indigenous people all over the globe.
yes.
That's an act of war. Like, it blows my mind. Like I was watching something, and it was something that happened with Russia and the grain. Something's been going on for a few months now, and all of the European powers got together to talk about global food security because Russia had stopped, the Ukraine from shipping grain to certain parts of Europe. Not even Russia, it was Ukraine, really. But point being is, some grain trade gets interrupted and they're over there talking about global food security when they are impoverishing entire continents and nations every day, watching them starve. But they want to talk about global food security when they speculate that they're going to have a shortage this winter, right? So it's clear that they still feel they have a monopoly on natural resources because if they can claim scarcity or an emergency because they're low on grain, like what are we going to do as a people when they're sitting here trying to turn out the sun, right? Turn off the sun when a lot of our people are already vitamin D deficient because of the programming in our society makes everybody want to stay inside. We have a number of people living above the 30th degree parallel. We were never meant to be above a certain line of longitude because of our melanin and the type of radiation that doesn't reach that far north. And you know the difference. You know what I'm saying? We from New York, so you come down here, you see what I mean.
Right.
You'll get the heat and the humidity, but none of that the vitality that you'll get in the Arizona or in in Florida. The sun just don't feed you the same. You know what I mean?
It's just don't. There's nothing you can do about that. Can't get around it. Feel me?
I got this another program here I'm working on while I got you on. So you're gonna like this one. Yeah, I got a list of the most common words, or at least the most common denominator, you can say, of all languages when it comes to language, to vocabulary. And there's a list of 207 words that are common to every language. So one of my random research projects is to get a list of these words into a data frame, feed it into a translator, one of the AI translators that I have, but have it translated in every Afro-Asiatic language, right? So we take a list, again, that's all of the words, the simplest words in every language. Numbers, animals, he, she, come, go, just the fundamentals of all language. Now, once I have them in the Afro-Asiatic translated by way of AI, I run something else called a Levenstein distance algorithm, which takes two words and sees how far they are apart based on their spelling or phonetics. And through that, I can build a tree based on like a heat map but based on cosine similarity to see exactly how which language is branched off when, and which languages predate the other, right? So to give you an example, the idea that Hebrew as a language is older than a couple hundred years old, right? I can blow that out the water. At least how we understand the Hebrew that the Yiddish people over there are using right now. You know what I'm saying? But on my chart, I can show how that's come from what they call Proto-Hebrew. Obviously, came from Phoenician, mixed with Greek and Yiddish.
Okay, here we go. Look, this is the one I was really trying to show you.
Yes, sir.
Here we go. Researchers discover how music could be used to trigger a deadly pathogen release. Okay? All right.
Mm-hmm.
Here we go.
You know what time it is.
Right? November 17th, right in Scorpio, researchers discover how music can be used to trigger a deadly pathogen release. Jesus.
I guarantee if you follow the breadcrumbs of that study, it has its origins in the Hitlerian studies of the devices that they use now, even for riot control, when they just aim at people and beam sound waves.
I got hit by one.
Okay.
In 2015, in the Freddie Gray protest, I got hit, disenabled, and they jumped on me, like 10 of them. Feel me? That's when they was doing the retina scans. And they was using zip ties to lock niggas up, and they was retina scanning them. I refused the retina scan. I got out of there. They locked 143 of us up. I was the third one up out of there.
Went in there like, I'm legally blind.
No, I went in there like, I ain't with none of this shit. And the officer dealing with me was from the 44th precinct, so he did everything I told him to do. I had my phone in there and everything. But yeah, it was crazy. It was a super duper. It was a BLM experimentation. This is when they was utilizing, all of these. Bro, I had only heard about that machine. I never saw it.
Right.
They brought that shit out. It was a round drum. I used to read about this stuff with DARPA making it.
Mm-hmm.
YPD had that shit. They turned it up. It felt like it was 100 degrees inside my. It was like, oh, they make you nauseous.
Right.
They disable you. You get headaches. They break you down, and they come in and jump on you. Feel me?
Right. I feel like that's that instrument that you just described, that came straight from Nazis. Nazis designed and perfected that. We got it through Operation Paper.
Oh yeah. So shout out to Red. We'll show how all of the police departments from 2011 up, I believe it was probably 2011. Yeah, they started training by the Israel Defense League, IDL. These are the same ones that was going into Palestine, killing babies with white phosphorus and all of that. They trained all of the police departments that was instrumental in police killings in the whole season of the 4 tetrad blood moons, which was a ghoulish observation from 2013, from 2012 up, because the police killing was not involved. The Trayvon factor was 2012, 2014 and up.
Mm-hmm.
When they was catching bodies under them blood moons. From Mike Brown up. All of those departments from the Missouri, St. Louis to NYPD, they all went to Israel for training. We got all of the articles and all of that stuff because we've been teaching this shit back since then.
Yeah.
So all of them got their training from them.
Crazy.
Feel me? And I have a tendency to always believe that that's the same people just in disguise, goddamn it, because they got way too much in common. I'm like, how you gonna become the people that supposedly
Well, I mean, so Pete, this though, like, I mean, you already know. Put it this way, there's the Havara Agreement that Hitler signed, allowing any of the Jewish, as you so eloquently put it, allowing them to get all of their assets.
breaking up.
You hear me?
Breaking up. They jam the frequency.
Yeah, they don't like that one.
Every time you bring people up, every jam it.
They don't like that. Leave them alone.
Man, touchy. Yeah. Jesus.
Man, they got that's crazy. But let's just say, you know, he let 300,000 people go to Palestine, take their assets, all of their German money, and create what we know as Israel. That whole thing was a ploy. And it's and that's documented, the agreement and the 300,000 people that were allowed to go and start this Israel. The whole European world was complicit in that land grab because it's just the Crusades. Call it for what it is. They wanted a foothold in that region of the world since over 1,000 years, and now they got it.
Again, shout out to Black Dot. Shout out to all of them because I've never seen nothing like this pop up on YouTube until today, which is their anniversary, 14 years of doing the Soul Brothers comes, you know, in Bavaria when they went to Germany and taught about the Holy Roman Empire. Now you seeing the history of African saints in medieval Germany, right? Home team history. Y'all might want to go and check that out, y'all. Get some of these bars, get some of these pointers. These people have been lying.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, wholesale from day one. This is another one that I saw today. This one was dope, right? I think I read about this brother in the J.A.
The original Mozart? Come on.
Black Mozart. No, he was not the. He existed along the same time as Mozart.
All right, look.
He was
they went to the same school.
They lived with one another for a few years, quote unquote. They said, yeah.
Yeah, bro. I know. I'm well aware.
Yeah. They went to the same school. Dude was a fencing expert. He was, running with Louis the 13th and all of them, and Maria Antoinette. You feel me? And he also, they said he played an instrumental role in the abolitionist movement of Europe, of London. And he was doing closed door meetings with them. When they finished building with him, they said that they had outlawed slavery in 1806. They were saying he had that much sway on a fraternal level at this point.
Mm.
You know what I'm saying? Because he had worked his way into high society. But J.A. Rogers gives you mad accounts of melanated people that was doing that, the troubadours and the rest of them out in France that was turning that. The dudes that
he taught at the school that Mozart.
Yeah, he taught. Yeah, he was a top dog. They couldn't do nothing with him. Yeah. Right? He was the illest. So
well, pay this. So think about it this way: Napoleon, he was the second choice to France. France actually favored a black brother, if I'm not mistaken, not Dumas, but he was heavily written about and even partially inspired the Three Musketeers. Napoleon was an afterthought and an offshoot. And his right hand, he's known now as his best general, forget the brother's name. I got to pull that up. But
I know you're talking about.
At the time, he was a contemporary, and favored by the French. You know what I mean? Our nobility is strong, though. I don't know, but even in the narrative, as far as oh yeah, it was Dumas. Okay, yes, it was Dumas. Thomas Alexander Dumas. His son actually wrote the Three Musketeers. But as far as our presence in Germany, there were the Goths, who we call Germans today, aren't indigenous to Germany. You know what I'm saying? You got Scandinavians and Nordics who ran through there. You look at medieval portraits, you'll see black people defending Germany from wild men. So, and there's a whole side of that. Oftentimes we talk about the Moors, and the history of the Moors is confined to Spain. Whereas I always tell people, if you're really interested in Moorish history, get a book called The Empire of the Moors in Europe. We can leave Spain for a little bit. Look at they call it an empire of the Moors in Europe, and they talk about how, the wars in Spain. Oh yeah, okay.
Right? This came out today. All right, this is not about China. Dimming the sun to cool the planet is a desperate idea, yet we're inching towards it. The scientists who study solar geoengineering don't want anyone to try it, but climate inaction is making it more likely. Right? If we decide to solar geoengineer the Earth to spray highly reflective particles of a material such as sulfur into the stratosphere in order to deflect sunlight and so cool the planet, they're doing it anyway. It will be the second most expansive project the humans have ever undertaken. The first, obviously, is the ongoing emission of carbon and other heat-trapping gases into the atmosphere. The idea behind solar geoengineering is essentially to mimic what happens when volcanoes push particles into the atmosphere.
Yeah.
Right? If large eruptions such as that of Mount Pinatubo in the Philippines in 92 can measurably cool the world for a year or two, right? Measurably. This scheme, not surprisingly, has few public advocates, and even amongst those who want to see it studied, the inference has been that it would not actually be implemented for decades. I'm not saying they'll do it tomorrow. Dan Schrag, the director of Harvard University Center for the Environment, who serves on the advisory board of a geoengineering research project based at the university, told my colleague Elizabeth Kohlberg for Under a White Sky, her excellent book on technical efforts to repair environmental damage, published last year. I feel like we might have 30 years, he said. It's a number he repeated to me when we met in Cambridge this summer, right? So once again, their timing and speaking about this, for the pole shift, when we move to Cepheus, when we move to a African melanated consciousness as the whole node point for where this universe is going to be moving to, they playing games with the sun, but they got to get out of the solar maximum that they're in right now. So I wouldn't even be concerned with that.
Mm-hmm.
They ass whoop, and it just started.
I mean, they're trying to buy time. Put it this way.
Yeah. Now you also have an AI that's running. Do you want to speak about any of the solar aspects that the information that we're garnering on that side?
So yeah, I have to be honest with you, I'm training a number of models for different purposes right now. I have a large language model that can answer questions, right? About any topic, any subject. If you give it a solid prompt, you ask it a question on anything from history, programming, science, it can deliver a human-like answer. However, it's one of those large language models, so it relies on big data. Therefore, the some of its discernment isn't all there. The conclusions it draws from the big data isn't always complete because it can't discern between the two arguments if it's trained equally on both of them, right? However, its knowledge base is amazing. Let me give some examples, right? And I'm gonna run some of this real time. Let me just pull it up. So let me see. I'm going to tell this thing to write me an African myth. All right, now this is a random prompt that just came into my head just now. It's going to take a second. The fact that an AI even knows what an African myth is amazing to me. So, okay. The sun god, Ra, was said to travel across the sky in a boat during the day and through the underworld at night. Each morning, he would emerge from the underworld and sail across the sky, bringing the sun with him. At night, he would return to the underworld, where he would battle Apep, a giant serpent that sought to devour him. Time out. Didn't I say write me an African myth? What does the AI know that these people across the globe still seem to have trouble admitting? Right?
Yeah. In Africa, and that's an African mythos story. Thank you, AI.
Talking that. They getting it right. You know what I'm saying? Getting it right.
It's so important.
That's what happens when we train. When we train.
So right. Again, when we're talking about the narrative, when we're talking about these opportunities that we'll have in the future, if they attempt to mute you at every twist and turn, you better have a friend in AI, because that's how you permanently erase from the record altogether. If they're able to do it digitally and virtually, it's a wrap for you niggas, because you can't do it socially. Right. You feel me? So yeah, man, let's dig in to these opportunities once again, to get in front of this narrative, to control it, to program it, to put our mind inside of it. You know what I'm saying? And win big. You know what I'm saying? Win this game. It's just all of the extension of our beautiful mind. So, you know, don't fall for the distractions. You know, maximize the moment and tap in. You know, the brother, he is offering an invaluable resource at university.org. There's a code at the bottom. You can engage for a discount and get in tune, get involved, you know, get inside of your crib and get in your skill set, get in your talent. So when you come outside again,
yeah, you'll be a different person, for real. Put it this way, I'll help you all out. Go look at the potential. We all know the applications of what we can do with AI. But if we a livelihood, go look at the potential of what you can earn in AI as an AI developer, an engineer, as a blockchain architect. We're not offering simple coding. You're not just going to learn how to build a site. We're actually teaching you the latest tech, the epitome of technology right now, the most in-demand real-world skills that our society is going to rely on soon. These technologies are going to be embedded into the fabric of everything we know. So get in early, and let's get it. Let's just become a valuable, upskilled people, and have more to offer.
Yes. So family, yes, please, let's take advantage of these opportunities. People ask, if y'all know how to screenshot, I'm going to show you some books before I clip this live. But about the next 5 minutes, I'm going to show you some of these books that we highly recommend. Majority of them should be accessible via Amazon or other means of which whatever you use to source your books. A.A. Rashid Books, you got to hit him up in his IG and his DM at A.A. Rashid Art. All right. So let me show y'all some of these books once again. Right. And all of this, even if it's considered ancient, history or knowledge is all applicable, especially with programming, Chaldean numerology. Anything with numerology is going to help, expand your understanding of programming. You feel me? And you can see yourself in this. This is from Chaldea. This is where the Kushites come from. I don't know how else to help you. If you can't see yourself in none of these narratives, man, I don't know what the hell else they called you back then. Phoenicians, Chaldeans, Kushite, you think all that shit white? I don't know what to do with you, man.
Right.
But
Right.
yeah, Chaldean numerology for beginners. This is melanin for sure, okay? Secret societies and psychological warfare. All right. You want to know the latest and the greatest, right? You want to know about John D and all of that, the real, you dig? You want to really get into it, right? This is that hidden cloth. These are books that I don't even bring out and show people all the time. But look, we here. Michael Hoffman too, right? Any of his stuff he goes in,
Blue,
right?
you ever read Silent Wars? I mean, Silent Weapons for Quiet Wars for Secret Weapons or something? Wow, why do I always do this? Quiet Weapons, Silent Weapons for Secret Wars. There we go.
Absolutely.
Right.
Without a doubt.
Yeah, people should be in there.
North America, 108 destinations, right? This got all the cloth in it, right? If you ever had a doubt about the empire, hold on. My camera froze. Right, here we go. Look at it right there. They go to Four Corner Hustlers. You see them? Utah, Arizona, Colorado, New Mexico. That's the empire right there. Boom. Utah, Arizona, Colorado, New Mexico. California and all that, totally different. Feel me? So yeah, all of this got the cloth in it, right? Sacred places in North America. Somebody asked earlier, this is moon spells, okay? How to use the phases of the moon to get what you want. You can screenshot all this. All right, if you want love, starting your own business, easy childbirth, all the spells, divine messages, right? And move at your own risk. These magical tools, but you got to know how to use them, crystals and gemstones, right? You should just be studying, writing invocations for the quote-unquote new moon. The Inner Reaches of Outer Space, Joseph Campbell, right? Legendary. This is the author of The Hero with 1,000 Faces, who speaks his books are the Bibles for the hero's journey. Joseph Campbell is famously accredited for writing about the hero's journey. You know what I'm saying, Bart? Right? See these motifs? Navajo sand painting, New Mexico. This is where the empire was at, y'all. Feel me? Kid you not. Another invaluable book. Okay. This is geomancy. Earth grids, ley lines, feng shui, divination, dowsing, dragons. Right? This is how they lay out grids on the planet, especially in cities, how they build cities, right? Why Cincinnati is what Cincinnati is and other parts of Ohio, because it has 7 hills or 7 mounds. That is their indication that they need to build New Rome. That's why that's their headquarters. Okay? Hidden cities in North America, the discovery and loss of ancient North American civilizations. Okay? Find out about all of the empires that were here. Okay? The world of the first Americas was richer, greater, more wondrous by far than most of us have ever imagined or that most histories have ever even implied. The reader will move through this energetic, provocative survey by Roger Kennedy with continuing amazement, a splendid, vivid book. And this is only scratching the surface. Shout out to all of my indigenous autonomous people resurrecting their history in real time right here on these socials. You guys are invaluable. You know what I'm saying? Absolutely. This is the Bible that I was reading from and teaching from earlier, right? The Illustrated Encyclopedia of Native American Indian mounds and earthworks.
Yeah, I gotta
right?
get that.
The Illustrated Encyclopedia of Native American Indian Mounds and Earthworks, right? By Gregory Little. This one here, that book.
I need that one.
They can't do nothing with you if you come in with that. Mystery, good luck finding this. Mystery of Mount Shasta, home of the underground dwellers and ancient gods. Okay? This right here is a treasure trove. Okay? This is a treasure trove of information. If you ain't into UFOs and Bigfoot and shit like that, don't even waste your time. Or inner Earth, if you ain't here for none of these conversations. But I mean, yeah, it's even better if you're a doubter. These are the books for you because they got all of the primary resources. You know what I'm saying? You could deep dive forever.
Yeah, you can't doubt something if you never even heard its full case. At least, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
People be refuting stuff that they didn't research, never even had an interest in looking at.
Experience. Right? Dog Star Hip Hop. All right. A. Rashid. Fear of the Black Illuminati. A. Rashid. 4 grams. A. Dog Star Hip Hop 3. A. Rashid.
Hey, be on it.
Yeah. Yeah. Savage. Right? You know, bro got his notes in here. Feel me? He's showing you how he's coming to these calculations and these numbers. Right? He's giving you the notes. How he arrived at these conclusions. You know, how you put the goddamn the eagle on the back of the tree of life, and you see that the left Sephiroth, the feminine one, is war. That's where you find the arrows at. In the right one, you find the olive trees or the fig trees. Man is diplomatic. Women are about war.
Or feminine.
Right?
Look at that Athena.
Circumambulation, yes. So, yeah. This is the Book of Knowledge. This is Dog Star Hip Hop Book 3. Right? We went through this. Healing crystals. Right? Discover the therapeutic power of crystals. So can't no Christians run down on you talking crazy about your crystals. Get your knowledge.
Or it's in the Bible.
All over it. 243 chapters. Or references, should I say.
The breastplate, you know what I'm saying? With the
12 breastplates.
Come on now.
The end all be all, but not let alone the fact that God was considered a rock. So was Jesus. So was the church. And they had the 12 breastplates. And this was just regular rocks. These wasn't even crystals. This was ordinary rocks. 100 Years of Anti-Black Policing. This is by Avery D. Pearl II. I met this good brother at Boyce Watkins event last year. Drove all the way to Oklahoma to sell his book. Shout out to them. Right? Good family carrying the torch. This is Making Love Through Communication. This is Dr. Boyce's wife. This is Dr. Alicia. Shout out to her in this invaluable book. All right. What else we got here? Raz Ben checking in last with The Knowledge of the Nomo. The Dogon Decoded by Raz Ben. Invaluable information dealing with the Nomo sapiens. or your cosmic narrative, talking about if you really want to understand the mound and the mound builders and how the mounds and the mound builders go off planet, then this is what you need to read so you can tie yourself to a cosmic narrative. And when you talk about Sirius as a constellation or as your home, you can speak with confidence. You feel me? And again, to see yourself in the mounds and understand why mounds. You know what I'm saying? Why these particular motifs? Why these glyphs? You know, gain a thorough understanding of who and what you are. So nobody else has, the job of telling you that. You know what I'm saying? The only way that somebody can fix their face to have the capacity to tell you who you're not is because they have a thorough inclination that you don't know who you are. And that's just unacceptable in this day and age. Feel me? It's just too much information.
I mean, realistically, we're being taunted because they know exactly who we are. And they want to create more discord with an identity crisis, as opposed to, they weren't ready for, the reaction they got. We're prioritizing what needs to be done over the idea of a religious denomination, and all that. So that was good to see.
Right. And I got, let me get an elder some shine. Feel me? Get your powernomics. Got the powernomics as well. Our brother Claude Anderson, National Plan to Empower Black America. Right, that good Claude Anderson. And this dude right here, Philomath. This is Robert E. Grant. He's on Instagram. He's on my IG page. I follow his page. He is a beast when it comes to the geometry and the mathematics, right? These dudes be on it, right? Qualifying the information, Shout out to Billy Carson. I think he should be on Black Magic now with the elder.
Oh, okay.
With Dr. Be Serious. So this is like, it's like Billy's people. Music and sound, fractal root. Yeah, his shit all the way upstairs with the geometry. You know what I mean?
And yeah.
And
That's the stuff that has to be juxtaposed with the with the astronomy. You need that level of understanding the geometry to look at the angles and the planetary alignments and bring that to music. You know what I'm saying?
Whew. Yeah, Philomath.
Yeah, that looked crazy.
The geometric unification of science and art through number. Okay. So, with all that being said, and I literally probably got 1,000 more books.
I already know.
You know what I'm saying? Probably, yeah.
Copy.
But
hey, brother.
I'm writing 3 books, so I do gotta get back to
3 more?
3 at the same time. Yeah.
I got 2 in the bag right now.
I got, shout out to Akiba Line. We got one in the bag that needs to breathe. It has to come out at this, But yeah, I'm writing about 3 more. I'm saying,
Word. Good, man. We need that literature,
Yeah, we getting towards those months. I'm gonna be in the crib. I'm just be cranking. You feel me? I'm gonna be cranking it out, and and getting in the university, because as much as I'm reading books, I really want to write some code.
Yeah, no, we definitely we're gonna get you in there. We're gonna get you in the programming portal.
Books out the way, so I just get it out my system, so I can really get to to school and get to learning a whole new language and get to writing these codes and creating the realities, this new dimension that, you know, we keep speaking about.
Yeah, you can't think clearly when you got books in your mind to write. I know that.
Everything I hear, I'm like, oh, for this one is for this book. Oh,
Right,
this
it's
is
a note. It's notes, references, and sources.
Trying to make let me put that, store that here, so when I get home I'll put, I gotta get it out the way, so you make space.
Because you're never done. There's always something to add to the book. You feel me? There's always more information every day. So you just got to find that cutoff point and say, I'm done adding news, you know what I mean? And organize it, get it out. We ready. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Well,
yeah, man.
So, hey, I appreciate you having me, though, brother.
Show, man.
We definitely gotta tap back in ASAP, do more of this, because we only stayed in a couple dimensions on this one, but could have ended up in a few places.
It's a good place to start, and hopefully the people can see the value in it and get engaged and get involved and learn a new skill set that can give you a bigger salary. You know, we should not be always incentivized by that, but these are real times, you know, we're moving into, you know, more so see the power in it, see the possibility in it. The profit is come along with it. That's cool.
And the freedom. I work from wherever I want. I was in New York. I was in Atlanta. I was in Florida.
That's the power. The freedom is in the power. You know, you can really be a digital nomad. You know, really be a digital nomad. You can really change the world. You can really put things into motion, you know, that will be here, that will outlive you. You know what I'm saying? And you got a skill set. So if you learn it, you could teach it to 10, 100,000 people. You feel me? You are the light in the darkness. Because all of our children need this. All of them. Like, all of them couldn't play basketball. All of them need to code, though.
Right.
All of them need to code. All of them need the skill set. All of them need to be badasses. Not boosie badasses. Badasses in terms of, you know, tech badasses. Like, going up in these places and shutting it down. Like, Elon is chasing you to come and do programming.
Right.
Like, need you here. Give you $1 million a day. Alright, fuck it. Yeah, shit like that.
Yeah, man. It's all the lyrics and TV shows people remember. I'm telling you, you know, we apply the same level of focus, and we'll crank out a whole army of engineers in no time. You know what I'm saying? If I had the mentorship and direction that I intend to provide here, that I am providing, light years, bro, light years. So
yeah, I want to land the plane on that. You know, I was speaking the other day about, you know, we have quote unquote problems as a people, and what I learned and what I was told and taught, right? Brother, shout out to Brother Shaka Atmos. He was like, Brother Blue, like, the only way that we could get out of this, the only way is if brothers
like you got
like
the perfect Shaka Amos though.
The only way the brothers can get out of this is if we approach this like engineers. We need to reverse engineer the system, because social engineers is the ones that created the constructs that put us in this to begin with. So if we're not thinking about this like engineers, then we're not thinking about it. And I was like, you got a point. You got a point. You know, engineers are primed to be solution-based. And that's how we're supposed to be approaching this, as solution-based thinkers. Men in particular, you have a brain in your head and you came here to solve problems. That's what being a man is, right? You're a problem solver. That's what being a man is. So in order to apply this thing that we have in our head called the brain, we need to start tackling some problems and solving them, hacking them, right? Because hack means solving. That's all it means. It's another word for solving. So with all of this brain power that we have, let's start reverse engineering whatever the problems are and engineering solutions. And there's nothing else to talk about.
Right.
Feel me?
I mean,
So I appreciate you for, bringing through the assistance, and being, a genuine individual. Put the call out. We've been riding ever since. And ever since I've known you thus far, you've been creating. You've been utilizing your intellect to create things out of thin air that are invaluable, and because our community, for whatever reason, does not understand what the value is, then, the wrong things matter to us. And for whatever reason, we're not able to lay value at the feet of the people who deserve, to be valued by community, society, because they bring something to us that's valuable that you can't necessarily put a price on, especially if it's a solution that we've been waiting all of our life for. You know what I mean? So I acknowledge that. I appreciate you. And for everybody else tapped in, peace, love, and light. Thank you, family, for joining us for this dialogue. And again, it's an incumbent upon you to seek value, find value, assign value. You know what I'm saying? And incorporate it. So you can add value to yourself, right? Because again, yes, you matter. You feel me? You matter. But how we treat ourselves, how we deal with us is really going to show us what matters the most in our life. You know what I'm saying? We could spend time entertaining ourselves, and all of that. And I'm never one to judge, but we got to spend, some time educating ourselves, because we obviously see that this game is not necessarily, even though we see people being bullied out there, they really want to get to the intellect. They like, nigga, where's your intelligence at? And if you show no intellect, you're gonna get bullied by people that are scrawny. You get
Right.
you getting pushed around by Mr. Burns, man.
Right. Right. They got your memory. They can, you know what I'm saying? Yeah, right.
They're getting pushed around by a rabbi.
Yeah. Just imagine, like, put it in a high school context, right? Like you walking down in your person, and you just imagine who that was in high school that that's doing that pushing around right now. It's that.
Yeah, go with the pencil pockets. The bully in the life. You make hard knocks to get to here, to get bullied by a nigga with the pencil pocket. Look, fam, don't talk tough to me either. Put out, go deal with your bully, and then we could talk.
Right.
Now looking here, I handed that nigga his cheat notes in science. He ain't got no problems with me. You know my work. I'm looking at you.
Hey, man. Doing bad. Real.
Oh, shit. Yo. But yeah.
Man.
I got to go, man. I appreciate y'all.
Likewise,
right,
brother. I'll
check
tap in with you soon.
Peace.